Go ahead.
In Michigan, I know you endorsed Haley Stevens.
I've been joyous, excited, enthusiastic, doing this the Michigan way.
But if El-Sayed wins this primary, will you endorse the winner of the primary?
Bottom line, we are going to win Michigan, take back the Senate, and have a majority.
That's incorrect.
Is the rise of the DSA good for your party?
Look, we are a big tent party. And being a big tent party is a strength, not a weakness.
Leadership.
Thank you, everybody.
Try harder not to suck.
In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight for his usual first Wednesday monthly appearance is our old friend Frank from Quite Frankly. Welcome back.
Saddle up, partner.
Good to be back.
How's the family, my friend?
Everybody's doing all right, man. I hope the same for you and your little army you're building up there in Montana.
Yeah, the army is, they are disobedient. They're not following orders right now. You know how toddlers are. Anyway.
Glorious.
That's good to hear, man. I'm glad. And of course, all the best to you and your family as you eagerly await your edition coming up in November. Find everything, quite frankly, at quitefrankly.tv. The show is live weeknights at 7 Eastern. For the next half hour, Frank and I are going to talk about Abdul El-Sayed winning the Michigan Democrat Senate primary, plus some other odds and ends, all the various Democrat socialist party thing influences that seem to be infiltrating the Democrat Party establishment. At the bottom of the hour, Turless and Batman will join. We'll talk the Idaho In-N-Out hero giving a national news interview, the Spokane fires. The earlier today, a federal judge in Texas actually declared the National Firearms Act unconstitutional, at least for now. So we'll talk about that as well, and some other items. In the second hour, we'll take calls, voicemails, emails. If you'd like to call the show live, you can do that through the Discord server linked in the description. There are instructions and help available on the server. With friendly producer Tim, if you'd like to leave a voicemail for the show, there is room in the inbox. You have the next hour or so to leave a voicemail for tonight if you'd like. Numbers in the description. But Frank, before we get into some news this week, I wanted to give an update on a friend of the show. I don't know if you know him or if you've talked to him or if you're aware of his situation. Friend of the show, Matthew Mastronardi. Have you ever heard of this guy?
I don't think so.
So he lives in Spokane. And of course, Spokane is on fire right now, as we'll talk about later in the show. He used to teach Spanish at the public school in Spokane. And I came to know him, and this show came to know him last year because he was fired from the high school in Spokane for reading To Kill a Mockingbird out loud in class. Because, of course, To Kill a Mockingbird has various mentions of the N-word. So he was fired, and he became a friend of the show through that through that episode. And of course, he's been on a few times. We hope he comes back, but Matthew's a very busy guy. Since he was fired from the school district, he started a bake shop in Spokane with his brother, who actually was a teacher at the high school as well, quit on principle for his brother, and they started a business together at a mall in Spokane. He also is running a family farm, is Matthew, in Spokane. But the reason I bring it up is because I texted Matthew yesterday, since I saw Spokane was on fire. Hey, man, you doing all right? And thankfully he is. His family's fine. His home is fine. But he knows several families who have actually been affected by the fire, not only evacuated, but lost their homes in the fires that are going on. Of course, as we'll get to later in the show, there's an arson suspect now arrested. But Matthew actually at his bake shop, Half Baked in Spokane, has been donating his proceeds from his business to the families he knows who have been affected by the fire, including, again, people who have lost their homes. I made a contribution on behalf of the show yesterday. If you would like to help out, chip in for the families that are friends of Matthew's who've been affected by the fires, there is a link in the description. Really, you just take the Cash App link to his business and you select fire donation. And there is a little bit of a hitch here because since this is an exercise of his business, it's essentially you're just buying food, but you're doing a fire donation. So it's only available during business hours, which is a little bit wonky. But for people who maybe see the show tomorrow, he'll leave this up all day Thursday tomorrow. If you'd like to help out the friends of Matthew who've been affected by the fire, you can just head on over to the Cash App page for his half-baked bakery in Spokane and chip in a little bit for fire victims who are friends of his. You can do that through the link in the description, and I hope some people might. But of course, we send our best to Matthew and his family and everybody he knows in Spokane. We'll talk about the fires later in the show. And we hope he'll come back sometime soon.
Okay. Make sure, do me a favor and just can you text me that link tomorrow just to make sure that I remember?
Yeah, I can do it after the show tonight.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Sure. But I don't have Cash App, so that's all right.
Neither do I. I just did it through the webpage because it's just a link, and I just did it through my browser on my phone. So worked fine that way.
I saw that too. Wood guy in the chat room. Huckleberry pretzel sounds really good. And speaking of the N-word, I just on Monday night, that was when we wrapped up the latest our summer reading for 2026. Last year we read Tom Sawyer. This year we read Huckleberry Finn. And boy, oh boy,
N-words everywhere.
Well, that was the great Family Guy bit from way back when. What'd you say to me? Can you pass me the N-word, Jim? That's better. I love that.
Thank you. That is our word.
Back when that show was unafraid. Those were the days, man. But okay. Yeah, the menu actually does look great. If I ever make it out to Spokane, I'll stop into the bake shop and pick up a smoothie and a pretzel. There's even pizza pretzels and stuff. All right. But into the news, Frank, in the key state of Michigan that Democrats must hold to have any hope of gaining Senate control, which is already a long shot, progressive Abdul El-Sayed has defeated Democrat party-endorsed Haley Stevens narrowly. Of course, Haley Stevens does a great Chris Farley impression, but it was not good enough. Did you see that clip of her earlier?
No.
Oh, man. So are you aware of Haley Stevens?
No, a real Chris Farley impression?
No, it was one in effect. Okay. But she has this Midwestern, Matt Foley, the Chris Farley bit. I live in a van down by the river. All right, she's trying to fire up the crowd, and she comes off exactly like Matt Foley as played by Chris Farley.
I am going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
So somehow that lost, Frank. That was not appealing to people, shockingly.
That was almost as rousing as Howard Dean. You remember that?
Oh, the great BA. The BA of 2004. How could one forget?
We're going to go to that. Oh, my God. That's so long ago.
As funny as that was, that basically ended his career as a politician. The BA. Remember, it became a Chappelle bit, the BA thing. I love lesbians. BA. Remember when he did that?
Yeah. Hey, you're right. That was 2004, man. That's 22 years ago.
Yes. Yeah, it makes me feel ancient, but that's right about the time that I started paying attention to politics because I was a junior in high school around that time. Yeah. And I believed back then, this is how different the times were, Frank. I was interested in the Democrat Party because of their seemingly credible opposition to the Iraq War and George W. Bush at the time. I was captured by their mirages back then.
Yeah. And I was captured by the other mirage, which was my first election to vote legally was 2004. I think it was 2004. And I cast that vote saying, well, you know what? The war broke out under George W. Bush, and let's give him a chance to finish it. Let's give him a chance.
Fair point. I guess back then, because I wasn't old enough to vote for Kerry. I would have, but I was 17. But did anyone really win by voting in the 2004 election? That's a fair question to ask. Probably
no.
not.
I don't know. It's all weird because it was almost like falling from one branch after hitting every branch on the way down from the top of the tree where, you're at the top of it, you're just feeling like, oh, wow, I'm coming into adulthood and the world is so big and large and elections and all this other stuff are going on. I could be a part of it now. It was George W. Bush, and then it was, let's go get Al Qaeda. And then it was, okay, well, this could be pretty good and interesting history. This Barack Obama guy's a nice slick talker. And then after halfway, about around 2010 is when I realized, oh, this guy's an absolute snake. And he's actually no different than George Bush. And this is actually, and now race relations are terrible because of him. And that is what I cast a vote for. Who the hell was the libertarian? Gary Johnson. And
Oh, that was 16. Wasn't it Ron Paul in 12?
yeah, well, I voted for him in the primary, and then once he was given stuffed into he was doing, that was like the first time that we all saw CNN and Fox News and everybody cutting off phone call, people saying I'm here for Ron Paul, he would this and that, and like everybody dogpiling on the one black sheep and just trying to get him off and forget about all the things that he was doing significantly, and how they changed the convention rules to make sure that he wasn't even allowed to speak at the convention. Oh man, that was a big eye opener right there.
Well, what do you make of the victory, the narrow victory of El-Sayed in Michigan? He's not officially a DSA, a Democrat Socialist sponsored candidate, but he's endorsed by Bernie Sanders and AOC. Chris Farley, Haley Stevens is viewed as the party establishment candidate. She was endorsed by the Schumers and the Governor Whitmers and all the rest. And the talk of this victory for El-Sayed is that this represents a shift in party power. The DSA is taking over, and maybe they are, but I guess for me, I'm wondering, outside of whether or not they would vote to fund Israel, is there a major difference between your average Democrat and, say, a DSA-sponsored candidate? What is the difference anymore other than maybe the Israel issue? Because I'm not clear on that.
Not much. First of all, when it comes to their getting into bed with Islam, it's always it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense why they would make deals with the devil to be able to vanquish what they see as communal targets, people that they want to destroy. And of course, civilizations they want to destroy. Islam is completely incompatible with the West, abhors its liberal values, and of course, its founding religion in many ways. And then, of course, you have your average Democrat, all really controlled by the same thing. I think it was Robert Sepper who said it earlier on today. Let me see where I can find it because I liked it. And I've been talking about this too, but he as an anthropologist, he has just a really great take on a lot of things. This was a little bit more just geopolitical. He said this would explain why the Islamic Marxist Alliance in the West supports the Islamic Republic in Iran that was installed in part by the communists. It would also explain why Islamic Republic openly supports BLM, a subversive Afrocentric Marxist organization. If you think about all the things that are laid on top of each other and how many times we've seen the BLM support of Hamas, all these different types of organizations, they just get in bed and they get cozy. They don't care about anything. They never think about the future. They're all about being able to take whatever meat is on the bones right now and to be able to seize those bones under, whatever kind of pretenses you can. And they're not thinking long term. So everybody just wants to be able to kill common enemies. And then when it's all done, they're going to have to come to other terms because, many people, like many Democrats in Michigan, realized what was that one town that elected almost all Muslims to the town
Probably
council?
Dearborn, but there's a lot of Muslim towns or a large Muslim population in a lot of places. But I assume probably Dearborn is what you're talking about.
But what was the place that they clean sweeped through the town council and then they canceled all the pride events?
That sounds very Dearborn-y, but
this is what I'm talking about. That's going to be the next thing where everybody's just still kumbaya, and then they realize that there could only be one tiger on the top of the mountain. Who's it going to be?
Well, yeah, there are MS Now earlier today was talking to Democrats or claiming to talk to some anonymous Democrats who say, no, I'm out. I'm voting for Republican, what's his name? I can't even remember the name. Rogers, right? Mike Rogers. Anyway, the Republican candidate running for Senate, because I'm out on El-Sayed. I don't buy it. I think that they'll line up. I think they'll vote. I'm not saying he's going to win. I think it's Michigan. It went for Trump. It's very possible that the Republican wins there. But are Democrats actually going to alienate their supposedly moderate voters, alienate them sufficiently to vote Republican? I don't see that. But that's what allegedly some people are saying.
It's a bad bellwether, man. It's a bad bellwether. It's just a lot of people for a primary. These are people's first choice, and this is the squeaker that they got. I would feel a lot better even if Michigan went to a so-called 1990s blue dog Democrat, as they said. It would just be so much better if this El-Sayed guy, or whatever the hell he is, just, came in fourth place, polling at like 6%, because he got most of the diaspora to vote for him and all that stuff. But it's just, oh man, it's not a good sign. Whether he is destined to lose or not, it's just so many people are throwing down. I don't know. We're surrounded by dummies, man.
I'm actually sad that Shri Thanedar is out. You remember Shri Thanedar?
Yeah, with that ridiculous hair.
Yeah, Bifty Bieber, he was called by the chat on this show. Or, if you want to be more politically correct, Bombay Bieber. But Bifty Bieber, are you aware of the Bifty is an obscure slur. Have you heard that one before?
No, I like it, though.
So the lore of Bifty goes way back, because it started with a supposed anti-Indian hate crime where the owner of an Indian restaurant alleged that someone wrote anti-Indian graffiti on his store, and the actual slur alleged was blurred, but it started with a B. So we had to consult the slur database online. I think it's racialslurdatabase.com, something like that. I forget what the actual website is, but it's the most comprehensive list of racial slurs that exists on the internet. And the only B's that referred to Indians was Bifty. And do you know why it's Bifty?
No.
Because when you go to 7-Eleven and you get change, he says $1 50 cents. That's why.
That's very obscure.
So Shri Thanedar is Bifty Bieber on account of his hairpiece. The guy, did he do anything in Congress other than attempt to impeach Trump every 5 seconds? I think he beat Al Green in trying to file those articles of impeachment.
I don't know. He was always more of like a sideshow to me, because you can tell he was never going to be like top talent, and you can you no doubt about it, Democrats are embarrassed of him and probably don't stand too close to him because God knows how he smells and all that stuff. And I looked at him, and it's just, he was always just so, whenever he would pop up on television or somewhere else, I would always watch his clips, because I don't know, I just like looking at him. I'm like, wow, look at this guy. Like, listen to this guy. What is he doing with his hair? And is he trying to look like Americanized? And he can't get past that really ridiculous thick accent. The one thing he can do now that he's out of Congress is he can become a jam boy. Did you read the jam boy meme I sent you weeks ago?
No, I guess I forgot to. Did you send it to me on the show? I probably forgot to look at it.
Listen, this is hilarious because your audience needs to know it. I'm putting it into the Zoom chat. Please put this on screen. It's a ridiculous.
Let me grab it. Actually, can you DM me on X? That would be easier for me to grab without messing stuff up.
Hold on 1 second. I'll do it right now. Your audience is going to love this. It'll go into the lexicon of Matt Christiansen things.
While you do that, can I to remind people, I have a clip of Shri Thanedar talking about his hair and talking about his birthplace. If people can't remember the lore of Shri, here's Shri at an earlier campaign event.
But they talk about my hair. They talk about my hair. They talk about my appearance. They talk about where I was born. They talk about everything, my looks. They talk about my age. They talk about why I should be deported back to the country where I was born.
Yes.
They talk about my past business dealings, and they distort my business record. They do everything.
Everything. Unfortunately, well, they also talk about how he sounds mentally challenged, but he didn't mention that one, I guess. Oh, all right. What's this about?
I don't know. I'm going to believe in my heart that this is true, but it's probably just the greatest of fictional writing. I don't know. Anyway, a jam boy.
Okay.
This is a colonial British meme, and essentially the jam boy, as you guys are seeing right there, was first introduced as early as the 1800s when the British Empire occupied India. When the British gentry went to play golf, they would have two men, the caddy and a jam boy.
Okay.
The jam boy's sole purpose was to keep the mosquitoes away from the golfer. To do this, the jam boy would cover himself in jam to attract the mosquitoes away from the players. This is the best part. When the game was over, the jam boy got to keep the jam he was wearing to take home to his family. Go ahead. Take home that jam boy.
You've earned it. You know, that's probably the best food that they had all day. All right. Anyway, I will normally on this show, of course, I like to send people off properly with a memorial montage to the tune of I Will Remember You by Sarah McLachlan. I didn't have time today. I only found out that Shri was gone halfway through the day. I guess the news came out this morning because it was a pretty close race. By the way, he lost to some kind of also a DSA candidate. Like he wasn't sufficiently left. Shri Thanedar. He lost to this guy named McKinney, who was a DSA endorsed candidate. So,
yeah. So Shri, he was not a socialist.
Apparently not relative to this guy. I don't know anything about this guy, Donavan McKinney, but that's who he lost to, and that's who's going to be in Congress because this is a Detroit district. It's going to go to the Democrat no matter what. So, all right.
Man. It's not good.
We got a little bit of time, and there are two things I want to talk to you about, but I really want to make sure there's time for one because I want to talk to you about the Mamdani grocery store thing and them saying it requires ID, but then backing off of that and saying it doesn't require ID. But I want to have plenty of time for this Hawaii Democrat candidate and getting KO'd on the beach. Do you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if people didn't see this, if anybody had a worse week in their congressional campaign than Haley Stevens and Shri Thanedar, it would be this guy, the most embarrassing defeat for Democrats in their congressional races. Now, he wasn't going to win. He's an outsider candidate, Kirill Basin. He's challenging incumbent Congresswoman Jill Takuda. The primary Saturday. He was going to lose. Now he's definitely going to lose. He already lost. But he was arrested on at Hawaiians, excuse my pronunciation, Kiavakapu Beach in South Kihei, I think is how you say it. This is the south side of the Maui Island. And what's happening here, as far as I understand, is he's on the beach and he's engaging in the classic jackassian behavior of just having a Bluetooth speaker or whatever he's got, listening to his own music on his own loudly. People do this all over. They'll do it running on trails. I see people at ski resorts doing this. Like they've never heard of headphones or earbuds. This guy's just jamming on the beach. He's a jam boy of another sort, Frank. He's just enjoying. Turns out it was Cranberries that he was listening to. And I like the Cranberries too, but I don't want to hear someone else play the Cranberries.
He was listening to the Pixies as well.
Oh, that's you're right. That's what it was. It was the Pixies. I think there was some Cranberries in there, but it was Where Is My Mind?
I heard Where's My Mind, and I heard Pink Floyd.
Yeah, so maybe I confused the Pixies and the Cranberries. Whatever. Good, it was fine. The music selection was fine. but some guy says, "Hey, man, can you please turn that down a little bit?" And ends up challenging the guy to a fight, decisively lost the fight. And I have to blur the knockout moment. It was a one-punch knockout. I got to blur it for YouTube's sake, but
really?
You get the idea. Well, I've gotten dings for stuff like this before.
Put your bag away. I told him if he wants to go to the hospital, come here. It is over. Hey, fuck you.
Hey. Not my girls.
Fuck you.
Not my girls, right? You're not talking about my girls, right?
I don't care.
Don't do that, dude. Don't do that.
What are you gonna do?
Go ahead. Just go. Just
what
go.
What are you gonna do?
Don, go ahead.
Am
go
I?
ahead.
I didn't fucking put him in the ground.
You may not like it, but this is peak Democrat masculinity.
Let's go, bro.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
Let him
Do
have
it,
it.
motherfucker.
I just said it.
All right, good. It's over. It's over.
He's a child.
Let's go.
Oh, chair thrower.
Oh my God,
It was a straight shot to the chin, too.
We go. We go. We go. Yeah.
Dad?
What you fucking about, Holly boy? Yeah? Trey, stay right here.
My favorite reaction. In his defense, the music really did improve the knockout scene.
Very nice. Dude, I thought it would have been funnier if he got up and he went and he put on like 4 non-blondes or something like that.
Yeah.
This is just something else. Just continue go down this spiral of music. Oh, well, yeah. It just that's going to be what he's remembered for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He'll be more of a local legend, but I mean the rest of the country, this was our 5-second introduction to his life, and now it's $1 million bail, by the way.
Well, that's the thing. He got charged with terroristic threats. Yeah. So, I mean, embarrassing enough to lose a fight that it sounds like you kind of picked, to lose it that decisively on camera and have it blasted on the internet. But he's charged with 2 counts of first-degree terroristic threatening because it wasn't just that scene. Apparently, he threatened to shoot people, threatened to stab people, and pulled a knife. And then when police came, threw the knife into the ocean, is what I read. So, man, I just... It doesn't get more embarrassing than picking the fight, getting your ass kicked that bad, and being criminally charged yourself for the behavior.
Man.
But he has the compassion to lead, or the courage to lead, and the compassion to serve. But we won't get to experience that.
The midterms 2026, they are lit so far.
Well, we got a couple of minutes. You want to talk about Mamdani and the grocery stores? So sure. I found this to be hilarious, both in the premise that they might be requiring some sort of ID-like thing. Of course, Mamdani is planning on opening the 5 or so of these city-owned grocery stores in your neck of the woods in New York City to have subsidized or discount groceries to make groceries more affordable. We'll see how that goes. But of course, there's the question of, is that available only to New Yorkers? And if they are in fact discounted, what's to stop people from being opportunistic, from buying the groceries in bulk and reselling them and turning a profit? Well, Mamdani was asked about that, and the response from the woman who's running this thing, the chief of economic development or whatever her title is, said, well, we're going to have some kind of like library card system, so you'll have to present a card when you make purchases.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically? And is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So our RFP makes very clear that this is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to pass it over to our EDC head, Ginny Pack, to add some additional details.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure that we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque, and also we manage who's buying and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So we are mindful of that, and so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place to ensure that that does not happen.
Okay, so we're going to make sure it's available to New Yorkers. And when people said, that sounds like ID, what do you mean I need ID to buy groceries but not to vote, for example? Yeah. And they backed off it and said, no, it's not ID. It's not ID. We're just going to use like a system to monitor your purchases to make sure that you're not buying in bulk to turn that profit. But that's not what they said at the press conference. They said not just that we need to make sure that you're not buying in bulk to sell it, but that you are in fact a New Yorker, so that not just anybody can come in and buy these discounted groceries. But how do you know if you have to monitor who the people are how do you do that without ID? So they're denying that this is an ID system, but I don't see how you achieve their goals without an ID system.
They're rats. They are commie rats. I mean, it's just you can't keep track of who a person. What you do when you keep track of a person and managing how you're going to be rationing this to people and what a household apportionment is going to be like, then that means you are identifying a person or a household and making sure it doesn't get more than it has allotted to them. So it's identification, but they're just so stupid. I said this before because I covered this. I covered this very, very, very closely as it started transpiring. Because I said this is just incredible because they announced that these 5 grocery stores were going to be opening up the same week that Chicago announced that they had like 7 grocery stores that were closing that were essentially the same kind of government-backed food desert programs, which is all based on the fact that it's very hard for anybody to turn a profit when you're always being robbed blind. Yeah. And the thing about this is, the first thing I said before they even came out with the ID system is, it's so obvious that commies, that socialists, these left-wing lunatics, they are so starving for accomplishment, and all they can ever really do is skin somebody and wear your skin like a fucking mask. It's all they can ever do to try to
my local grocer. How could
that's
they?
all
He's
it
such a
is.
nice guy.
Absolutely. They want to skin them and wear it like a dead skin mask and say, look, we're an entrepreneur too. Because if you really wanted to just say, hey, we want to make sure that everybody in this, and that's the other thing here too. I love how they say the only thing that's going to be discounted is whole foods, wholesome foods, some celery, some cabbage, some eggs, some milk, something like that. We're going to make sure that everything else is regular price. Oh, really? Well, didn't you just come down on RFK for saying that EBT and welfare, food systems and all that stuff shouldn't include things like cookies, and that we should, if we're going to pay for people's sustenance, we should at least give them nutrient-dense foods? Everybody's like, no, children need cookies to feel normal. And they said, and so they go on with this shit. And what happens from here now? So now they're saying, well, we're only going to discount the healthy food because everything else is whatever. I said, okay, well then tell me this, you fucking jealous ass, envious, stupid ass geniuses you have assembled over there with your mean mugging Chinese bitches behind you. Why don't you just create a New York City exclusive, because it's all going to be about giving it to people who are not white, some exclusive program, a coupon book that comes every month to qualified households in the city. You get a coupon book to go and use it in local businesses. Why don't you do that? Because if that's all you're doing, then why are you doing that? Because everything here is about how do we undercut private businesses to make it harder for them to stay open. Bodegas. It's not about, you're not going to be taking Whole Foods out. You're going to be killing bodegas. Okay. Why not just give people coupons from the city that they can go and they can purchase things? No, we need to have our own grocery stores because we can say we built something. It's so fucking stupid. They're so stupid. And anybody who thinks that this is like reinventing the wheel, really just, it's so hard having to share society with people this gullible.
Well, that's our friend Frank from Quite Frankly. You can find all things Quite Frankly at quitefrankly.tv. What the hell am I hearing? What's going on? Oh, is that from you? I'd like some kind of sound. Anyway, quitefrankly.tv is where you find all things Quite Frankly. Shows live 7 Eastern weeknights. Frank, thank you as always for stopping in. Is there anything else you'd like to promote before you're out of here?
No, thank you for the time. And as I always like to say, make sure you guys and gals at home, we want people like Matt Christiansen reporting on the world and being a bigger and bigger part of the new media for all the decades to come. So sign up, go on his Patreon, go whatever the hell he has, throw down $5 a month, support him, and let's all stay. Let's not get disconnected over the years to come, please.
Likewise, my friend, quitefrankly.tv is where you do all of those helpful and supportive things for Frank. We appreciate you, and all the best to your family, and I hope to see you back here in September.
Oh, can't believe it. I'll be here. Take care.
All right. There he goes, quitefrankly.tv. All right, I have to get Turless and Batman plenty more news to talk about. We're going to take your calls, emails, voicemails, Superchats, all that. And before I do, hey, don't forget, I've got that video game coming out soon, and we got to say hello to our friendly featured listener-owned business as well. That's our friends at Hero Soap Company. Hey, have you heard I now have a video game? Thanks to our friends at Soren Games, Matt Christiansen Media Mayhem is shipping soon. It is a retro-style Game Boy Color game that will play on any of your devices, your PC, your Mac, your phone, or tablet. Join me in my quest to perfectly cook French fries, 425, bring vehicular justice to cyclists while avoiding ethnic truck drivers, evade Soviet pursuit, and much more, all to achieve my ultimate destiny, confronting the masked journalist, defeating her, and earning the front page hit piece that is rightfully mine, and wearing the coveted golden flannel to mark the achievement. The game is full of bits and references, secrets, and even extra titles from our friends at Soren Games, games within the game. You even get an arcade version of their Leering Center game. Collect the cash and evade the oversight. It's all just $10. Learn more at mattchristiansenmedia.com/game. That's mattchristiansenmedia.com/game to pick up Matt Christiansen Media Mayhem, playable on all your devices. When you try Hero Soap Company, not only are you getting a great smelling, all-natural product, not only can you subscribe and get soap sent straight to your door each month, but you can get signature soaps designed by yours truly. Timberline is the classic, a frosty pine experience where the forest meets the peaks. Double menthol for that high-altitude cooling effect. Or try Old West, highly underrated, people say. The sweet smell of leather and oak barrels will bust open the saloon doors. Or try any of Hero Soap's other fine offerings. Scents rotate regularly, so you can always find something fresh. You can do like I do and subscribe to get a random bar each month. So you get a great smelling surprise in your mailbox and you never have to remember soap at the store again. You might not know Hero Soap offers shampoo and conditioner as well, so even more ways to upgrade your shower. Remember, when you buy Hero Soap, you're not just getting a high-quality, made-in-the-USA product. You're not just supporting this show, but you're also helping America's finest, too. A portion of every sale benefits military and first responder charities. Listeners of this show get 10% off everything from Hero Soap Company using promo code MCLISTENER at checkout. Let freedom clean with Hero Soap Company. Promo code MCLISTENER for 10% off site-wide. HeroSoapCompany.com. All right, with us for the rest of the show, he has the beard to which I aspire. Turless is here.
Howdy.
I thought you were silent for a second. I thought we were doing mime work. All right, nice to see you. And
nope,
he's not the hero.
I'm not trapped in the box.
He's not the hero Gotham needs. Batman is here as well.
How we doing, folks?
Hello, sir. Welcome back. Well, I want to talk about the Idaho In-N-Out shooting because the hero, or one of the heroes of that shooting event, is now given a national news interview. I'm sure you guys saw the story, yeah, over the weekend of this dude.
Yeah, my state's gotten a little too exciting.
Yeah, well, between the fires and the In-N-Out shootings, you guys don't have. Has In-N-Out made it to Coeur d'Alene yet?
No.
Okay, so it's just a Southern Idaho thing for now because I'm not a huge In-N-Out guy. I mean, it's fine, but I think it is preferable to some burger fast food places. So as it creeps closer to my neck of the woods, I guess that's a little bit exciting. We're still waiting on Chick-fil-A here as well, but eventually we'll get In-N-Out. Anyway, Sunday we talked about the Twin Falls, Idaho In-N-Out shooting. So this is Southern Idaho, east of Boise. In which two people intervened. There was this armed civilian who I thought looked like Captain Price from Call of Duty. It looked like he was wearing the bucket hat thing, but I guess it wasn't. It was this. It's just a baseball cap, but it was like his man bun in the back that made it look like there was a brim in the back. So anyway, he's still Captain Price-like, I think, because he had his silenced 5.7 and. Then there was an off-duty police officer who intervened as well. But the Captain Price guy was unofficially identified as Jordan Salinas. And that is now confirmed as Jordan Salinas is speaking to national media, in this case, ABC and Good Morning America. And I'm actually shocked that ABC even wanted to give this guy airtime. So credit to them for doing that. I will acknowledge, I didn't think any national media would even talk about this story as soon as it was clear that an armed civilian had a role in minimizing the event, but they did.
Yeah, is that allowed?
I mean, I'll credit them for that. It does matter. It is important. But if you listen to the very end of the interview segment that aired on Good Morning America, they just couldn't help but get that little nugget of nonsense in there at the end. Listen to this.
It was like a switch, like, okay, green light.
You said it's real now.
Yeah, like this is real, it's happening.
35-year-old Jordan Salinas tells me he and his girlfriend Emily had just pulled into the parking lot when the shooting began.
As soon as we pulled in, just a sea of people just flooding out of the building.
Yeah, we didn't know what was going on. We both thought it might have been a kitchen fire.
Jordan drew his semi-automatic pistol and went toward the danger, seen on video repeatedly firing at the shooter.
You were actively taking cover behind the In-N-Out sign.
The biggest thing was just that he didn't know where I was. When those first shots broke at him, I mean, he had no idea.
You had said he didn't like the bullets going both ways.
No, he seemed unusually comfortable aiming that rifle at those cars. And then as soon as some rounds started coming at him, everything changed.
We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties.
Well, the investigators say that you probably saved a lot of lives.
My goal was to try to help as many people get home as possible, to be with their families, to be with their friends. That was the entire goal.
And Jordan emphasized you don't need a weapon to be helpful in a situation like this. While, of course, he and that state trooper helped drive the suspect away, we also know that he said dozens of people sprung into action to get people to safety and to help with first aid, plus all the actions of the first responders. All of that together helped get a lot more people home safely, guys.
Shut up, faggot.
Just so you know, Jordan wanted you to know you don't need guns. Why don't you play the part of Jordan saying you don't need guns? I noticed you quoted him but didn't play that part. Why not?
Yeah, like you can just throw rocks. You could use, I guess, your psychic powers and just sort of will him to stop. I don't.
God,
you got lots of options.
Maybe the only reason why they decided to interview him is because they also thought he was SAS.
That was pretty good. Yeah, maybe you could do the next Call of Duty training part at the start of the game. That's how I always remember him. He taught me how to play Call of Duty in the training segment of Call of Duty 4, where I started. But even
I'm is soap, eh?
Exactly. Even when you can listen to the police officers, okay? We don't even have to look at the video of Jordan. The police officer said in the segment that your team edited and you played on the show, we really think this guy's actions, in combination with the off-duty officer, saved lives. Why did they save lives? Let's go to the guy quoted. Oh, once bullets started flying at him, he really got scared and backed off. Yeah, but ABC is going to tell me, no, just have the courage to what? Stand there, make yourself big and tall, go roar, and put your claws and fangs out and try to scare him. What? When they,
I really appreciated him saying that too, because this is a really significant point that I've noticed about shooters over the years. Even the ones who intend to kill themselves, who intend to, unalive themselves. I don't know, whatever social media wants
thank you for being YouTube compliant.
Yeah, but even the ones who intend to do that. They are still afraid of being shot. They are still afraid of police being the ones to do it. And
we still don't know why this guy shot himself. I mean, presumably for the reasons you're talking about. If I'm going to die, I want to be the one. But
that's it.
Why did he shoot himself when he shot himself is a better way of phrasing that. Yeah, and you can't tell me that Jordan, this other guy, had nothing to do with that.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like he probably always intended to do that. But his timetable maybe changed a little bit, depending, because of the pushback. And so this is, I think people need to get this through their heads about these kinds of shooters is you think, they're just out there. They got nothing to lose. You can't do anything about them or whatever. No, they still fear dying, even if they intend to die. Because they sort of fear the lack of control. They sort of fear it being inflicted upon them. So I
think that's just pure instinct too. No matter how courageous you are, no matter how battle tested you are, do you ever really get over that fear of taking the bullet and dying? I mean, people who have experienced tour after tour of combat could probably tell you, but I don't know that anyone ever fully gets over that, no matter how much they try to tell themselves that they are.
Yeah. And
well, that being the case, what in the world made him pick Idaho of all places to pull this stunt?
Well, we don't know anything about his motive. Why Idaho? Why In-N-Out? There's speculation that maybe it was political based on In-N-Out being a Christian company and him shooting Teslas for still unknown reasons.
Yeah.
But hey man, if you're going to commit a mass shooting, Idaho is one of the ballsier states to try it. That's for sure.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
And he did. And he didn't. Well, he did kill 3. So 2 and then himself. But yeah, this could have been much, much worse. And Jordan also spoke with the Idaho Statesman, a newspaper there in Idaho. And he says he's a healthcare worker. He's actually a full-time caretaker for his wheelchair-bound brother who has some sort of health condition or disability. But he says he started getting serious about gun training in 2021. You might wonder, is this guy like ex-military? Is he some super special dude? Is he protecting high-value targets or something? No, he's just a guy. And I'm not saying that to dismiss him. I'm saying that anybody's capable of doing what he did if they're serious about it. He started gun training in 2021 because there was a mass shooting at the mall in Boise, the Boise Town Square mall shooting in 21. And he figured that he and his brother, if they were caught in such a situation, would be soft targets. He didn't want to be that. He learned about guns and tactics and all that stuff. And he said that he had kind of burnt a 4-step plan for such a situation into his mind. It says observe, as in figure out where the shots are coming, orient, as in find a line of sight on the shooter, decide, assess that proper target when the opportunity to intervene might be, and act to pull the trigger. And so to Jordan for being well planned, well disciplined, well prepared ahead of time, I salute him. And we are very proud of him.
And I'm proud to be an American.
Anyway,
Anybody else notice
inspiring.
he also basically used the pistol from Splinter Cell?
I was thinking Modern Warfare 3, but yeah, I mean, I've always wanted a 5.7. I've never bought one just because they're kind of expensive. And even if you buy one, the ammo is it's quite expensive. So I've just been out on the caliber. But from a video game perspective, I love the 5.7.
Yeah, I mean it's the exact. I mean he even had the the underbarrel like light laser module under there and a suppressor on it. Like it's almost literally the pistol from Splinter Cell.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've played Splinter Cell. I don't know what Sam Fisher's setup was, but something like that. And,
it was that.
Was it literally a 5.7? Is that what he ran?
Yeah,
I don't know. I it's been forever since I've played it. So. Also, do you guys have anything else you want to say about In-N-Out?
Oh, just he's inspiring. I haven't come up with a 4-step plan and all that formalization. So, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll follow his example. And this is pretty important. It's tragic what happened. He managed to kill 2 people, but we can always pull some redeeming thing out of a tragedy if we put in the effort. So maybe that'll be my tribute to his and I'll come up with my own plan for these things instead of just a vague, I'm armed and if something happens, I'll try to do something.
I guess I got to get a 5.7 to honor him. I got to finally acquire one. Ruger makes a knockoff, right? And does Kel-Tec make one? No, Kel-Tec makes, you know what Kel-Tec makes? You guys seen that one?
Yes.
Kel-Tec makes that thing that takes P90 mags, that giant pistol that takes 50 round P90 mags up top. Now, of course, if I could, actually considering the news that the NFA is potentially unconstitutional, finally I can just buy a short-barreled rifle P90 and I'll 5.7 that way, the way that Call of Duty actually intended. And I will honor Jordan that way. I'll run 5.7 through the proper P90 setup. Anyway, also in your neck of the woods, how smoky is it out there in North Idaho?
It was really crappy the last couple of days. Today wasn't quite so bad.
Okay. Because, of course, your neighbors in Spokane, and the whole place is on fire. And it's not just that it's on fire. It has been devastating for the community there. Some 700 structures are gone, including hundreds of homes. 65,000 people were displaced in evacuations. Amazingly, at least so far, no confirmed deaths or even major injuries. But I got to think eventually we're going to find some bodies in the devastation that has happened here. Maybe not. I hope not. And the damage is actually 3 separate fires. and 2 of them are believed to be human caused. So there are 3 separate fires kind of around and a little bit north of Spokane. That's the Old Trails fire and the Autumn Lane fire are the biggest ones. Those are the 2 that are believed to be human caused. This week there was an arrest for arson in the Old Trails fire. 37-year-old Aaron Farinacci was arrested on Monday. Farinacci was identified by a witness named Paul Child, who was out with his grandson in around his neighborhood and saw this guy doing some suspicious stuff, bending over, acting weird. And now, after the fire started, he realized that guy was lighting the fire. It turns out he was with a lighter. So Paul Child helped authorities identify this guy, track him down, and arrest him. And it sounds like they got the right guy based on his criminal record. So Farinacci was previously questioned about 2 other fires in Washington last year that started near his house. He was never actually arrested or charged for either of those, but that's not the extent of his criminal record. He actually murdered his dad in 2010.
Jeez. Wasn't that for like washing the dishes or being told to wash the dishes, something stupid like that?
Apparently got in an argument over washing the dishes and shot his dad dead, pleaded guilty, got a manslaughter conviction out of the guilty plea, but this sounds like it was just straight up murder as a matter of the facts. He went to prison. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison for manslaughter, went to prison for 8, got out in 2020, and is now lighting fires in the Spokane area. So my question on this, we often, I know the sort of answer I'll get, especially from Batman, but we often think about capital offenses, death penalty eligible offenses being murder, terrorism, treason, maybe rape. Arson generally does not come onto that list. And I know he didn't kill anybody in this case, but given the massive damage this guy inflicted, if we believe the death penalty is a valid sentence at all, isn't there just as good of a case for the death penalty for someone like this as there is for someone who actually commits a mass murder?
Yeah, I mean, he would have done less damage with a bomb.
Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, he might have killed more people, but in terms of the scale of the reach of the damage, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about the kind of...
Just burn him alive.
Yeah.
Okay, kill him.
It's appropriate.
Fair enough.
I mean, just think about the damage you could do setting fire to one single home, right? First of all, you could be killing a family, right? You could be killing kids. And even if you don't, if you burn down a house, you could be potentially, completely destroying everything somebody has taken an entire lifetime to build. And that is just one house. You start setting forest fires or like fires in the Palisades or something like this, there is no telling how much damage you could potentially inflict. So yeah, I would say the scale of the crime absolutely justifies the full extent of punishment that we could possibly inflict.
Even if it doesn't
and that
result
punishment
in...
doesn't have to be expensive. All you need is kerosene and a match.
Treat him just like he treated others. Yeah. But yeah, even if he doesn't achieve mass death, and even if in his mind that's not the intent, there is no way to commit this crime. If what the witness described is true, that he is just out in some field by the railroad tracks with a lighter trying to light the vegetation on fire because he enjoys doing these sorts of things, does it really matter if he in fact kills a dozen people or 0? To me, if you do that with the intent of ignition, you are by definition intentionally committing a mass death event, whether the deaths in fact result or not. It necessarily creates that risk. You intend to do that when you hit that spark to light that vegetation.
That's what they got Derek Chauvin on, basically is creating.
What the hell's going on? Did you join Discord?
Oh, sorry.
I didn't mute you in Discord. That's why.
My bad.
No, it's because you called in and I didn't mute. There we go.
Yeah.
We got 2 Turlesses.
Yeah, sorry. But I was going to say that's what they got Derek Chauvin on is basically, creating the situation in which somebody might die. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got him on, committing a felony that resulted in a death was the theory.
Yeah. And I mean, in that case, Floyd did die, even though it was overdose. But
if someone dies in this, I mean, felony murder, I don't know if they have that in Washington state, but just in general, as a legal theory, would have to apply. I guess my question is, does it matter if the death results or not? It's kind of like if I write down in my phone, lol, gonna go mow down some cyclists on the street, and then you have me on camera driving the wrong way down the road, narrowly missing cyclists because I'm just not that good of a driver or something. Don't I deserve the same penalty as though I sent them flying in the air and killed them?
Well, and here's another way to think about it. Do we need that kind of person? Like, do we just need them around?
Like, no. I mean, the fact that he was not in prison after straight up murdering his dad is already a major problem.
Like, okay, those are two pretty big strikes there. So I just I'm not sure how I'm not sure how the world is benefiting from his existence. It seems as though he's blown it.
Wonder what the odds are that he gets out. We'll have to see how this is handled in terms of the charging. It's first-degree arson that he's charged with right now. Maybe there'll be more charges, and we don't know if he'll take a plea deal again. But what are the odds? He's 37. All right. What if he gets like a 20-year prison sentence? He'll be out again in 10, 15 years, max 20.
Lighting more fires or killing other people's fathers. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't think this is the last we've seen of him. I think he'll be out to do something again in the future.
Yeah, odds are pretty good. It's Washington.
Well, just a couple minutes before the top of the hour, I did want to discuss what might be another Trump attempted assassination. Really quickly, a guy was caught surveying the Trump golf course in Southern California, in LA, where Trump was on Tuesday. They found this suspicious dude taking a bunch of photos and videos, and then they searched him, and he had ammo, he had a magazine on him, he had a gun in his car. Most suspiciously, he actually had a false badge that read security protection agent. At his house, they found a bunch of guns and ammo and stuff that just mere possession of, I certainly don't want criminalized, but given his behavior, might be a little bit worthy of some investigation. He actually had an unregistered short-barreled rifle, and the feds are going to get him for that. So we don't know what this guy was planning on doing, but it sounds like maybe another attempted golf course assassination in the works. He's arrested. Whatever he was planning to do maybe on Tuesday didn't happen. But that is thanks apparently to the LA Sheriff's Department and the Secret Service. So, but his SBR,
they keep trying. They keep trying.
His short-barreled rifle charge might be dropped. Did you guys see this news earlier today? So as of right now, if I understand correctly, the NFA, the National Firearms Act, is void in Montana, in Idaho, in several other states, but I don't think Arizona is on the list. Sorry, Turless.
Darn it.
You might still be at the victim of the feds. So for people who don't know, the National Firearms Act, the NFA, it's a 1934 law that creates all sorts of special gun configurations and gun parts, suppressors, namely. When I say special, these things are subject to special regulations. You have to register them with the feds. You have to get fingerprinted, submit a photograph. You have to get a tax stamp, which previously cost $200, though Congress last year eliminated the $200 requirement. So you still have to get the tax stamp, but now it's free. Anyway, that removal by Congress has now become legally contentious. So you have various gun rights groups, the Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, a collection of states who are interested in undoing the NFA, again, including Montana, including Idaho, and a dozen others. And earlier today, the district court judge in North Texas ruled that these major pieces of the NFA, namely the requirement to register and all this nonsense, that is actually unconstitutional. And the ATF is blocked from enforcing these things against plaintiffs, as in GOA or FPC members, of which I am both, and you should support those organizations. The states of Montana, and I guess I'm protected, maybe as a Montana state resident. I don't know who all is protected. The judge in the case said...
This whole thing is fucking bullshit.
He actually said that Congress wiped... So it's not actually on a pure Second Amendment basis. Congress wiped out he says Congress wiped out the constitutional basis for this federal gun registration system when it eliminated the $200 tax to get the tax stamp for these items. So the court rejected the government's attempt to save the regulations under the Commerce Clause. Now, what does this all mean in practical terms? As far as I can tell, and I'm not a lawyer, so consult your favorite gun lawyer if you want to exercise your freedoms in new ways. But as of this moment, there's a block on the ATF enforcing these federal gun registration requirements. Form 1 for short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, suppressors. Form 4 for the transfer of those things. No fingerprints required, no photo required. But, big but, asterisk, the Department of Justice now has 7 days to apply for appeal. My question for this Department of Justice under still under Todd Blanche and maybe on a more long-term basis under Todd Blanche, why don't you just not? Why don't you just not appeal it? Or if you think that this could be enshrined at the Supreme Court level, not to be undone later, could we appeal with that strategy to get the Supreme Court to declare that the National Firearms Act is actually unconstitutional? I know that this has a long way to go, and I don't want to be overly optimistic because right now, if you are planning on building a short-barreled rifle or you are planning on buying a suppressor or any of those things, definitely don't take my word for it that you don't have to do any more of that federal bullshit, because you probably do. But I would, given this development, I need Donald Trump's Justice Department to answer, what? Okay, the court has declared it unconstitutional. Why are we still doing this horseshit? Why are we pursuing this anymore? Why don't we just end it here? Why don't we just stop?
Can you imagine how many?
Do we have any idea if there will be an appeal?
I don't. I haven't seen what the government has said about that. I just know they have a 7-day window to file it.
Because I mean, Trump likes people to like him. He likes his base to like him. And I think he knows that if he just does nothing about this, he's going to get a lot of support from people like, say, for example, me. So
yeah, I have not liked the Iran war. I have not liked the tariffs. Just when I think you can't get any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself. I'm going to every gun in my safe, every shorter configuration is getting a stock tomorrow. Please, please go down and buy all the suppressors in the case.
Man,
it's almost a shame that I actually SBR'd 2 of my rifles recently.
Yeah, I texted a friend earlier about this. Said, "What? I just got two pieces of paperwork back today. This sucks. Why did I do that?"
Oh, that blows.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Hey, so the NRA was not one of the plaintiffs here, right?
I did not see them mentioned, but I haven't seen a comprehensive list.
Do they even do anything anymore? I mean,
mostly I gather they cooperate with Moms Demand Action to facilitate gun control. That's why when Haley Stevens stands up and says, "We have to defeat the NRA," I'm like, yeah, exactly right, bitch.
Yeah,
down with them.
Defeat them. I mean, they're not even doing anything. Aren't they already defeated? I don't.
Yeah. Well, that's the fact that they think the NRA is a boogeyman when you have, I mean, firearms policy coalitions, their whole bit, in addition to actually doing good legal work, which is why I support them, and I'm glad that they're a part of this case, but their whole social media bit is just replying to gun-grabbing politicians on X saying, "Fuck you, no." Every time they post their stuff, "Fuck you, no."
Yeah.
And though that's the caricature they paint of the NRA, but they never call out the Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, the people actually making a difference, even though, one, they're effective in many cases legally, as maybe they will be ultimately here. And number two, they actually have the balls to say stuff like that. Fuck you, no.
There's
they don't
probably
just
something.
cave.
There's probably something to that. They don't want to draw attention to organizations
That's exactly
that
it.
actually get something done.
Yeah, they don't mind mentioning the NRA because they know they've already cut the balls off the NRA. But if they start reporting on things like the GOA or FPC, then people are going to go, "Oh, this is an organization that actually does something about it. We
They
should
actually
probably
rack
support
up
them."
some wins. Oh.
God, speaking of Donald Trump misses, one of the worst things was the attempt at banning bump stocks after Las Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Remember when the NRA just
definitely.
rolled over and came out in favor of that too? Not only should you not be doing that from a gun rights perspective, but as a matter of law, that was handled in a completely bullshit fashion, which is why it went down.
It was not one of Trump's finer moments, but let's be real. This guy is a lifelong New Yorker. He is not, he's not from Texas. He's not from my state of Arizona. He's not a gun guy. So he does, okay, whatever. He doesn't get it. But the NRA, what's their excuse?
Their excuse is just collecting the checks and buying nice suits for their executive board, I think.
Yep.
But all right,
Sign
we
up
got to
now and get a
One
free
of those
duffel
hooked
bag.
knives to their sacks.
All right, we got to get to calls. Before we do, hey, have you considered joining the MC Club? Well, you should. Here's why. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member of the MC Club. For as little as $1 a month, you will enjoy a series of exclusive perks, including ad-free videos and podcasts, video calls, and a community Discord server with me and other listeners, loot box giveaways with channel merchandise, your name in the credit roll after videos and streams, and much more. But most importantly, you will help keep the duct tape production alive and independent from all those sinister forces of control. Join the MC Club at mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Linked in the description. Okay, first up is our friend Golden Leaf. Golden Leaf, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you guys doing today?
We are well. What's on your mind?
Well, want to talk about 5.7 and just the interesting little caliber that it is.
Not 6.7, 5.7.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Go ahead.
I will
Sorry.
launch a trebuchet rock at your house somehow. So, do you know the history of the 5.7 and why it became a thing?
I know, I mean, developed by FN, and as far as I understand, designed to be kind of a hybrid pistol rifle cartridge, something that would achieve something close to rifle ballistics out of your typical handgun or some sort of short barrel configuration, as far as I understand.
It was meant to punch through Soviet body armor.
Oh, well, okay, that too. Dealing with commies.
Yeah,
I guess it wasn't post fall though. It was like early 90s. It was developed, something like that. I guess
89.
Yeah.
So the 5.7, and this also a new term came out. The personal defense weapon, or PDW, was for that, and it was mainly desired as NATO would put it, because it was a NATO trial to replace the 9mm for their SMGs for support crews.
So everything was going to be a 5.7 SMG. We're going to have a bunch of P90 kind of guns.
They wanted to replace the 9mm because 9mm wasn't as packing as much punch as it was due to the more advancements of body armor. And it was mainly, so the whole test was meant to help give this to crew serve weapon personnel, support personnel, some special forces guys, and counter-terrorist groups. People that really need an SMG, but they can't really have a rifle, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah,
And that's where,
I haven't followed the history of it too much. Why didn't it catch on? This is still kind of like an obscure boutique cartridge now.
Because the Germans had a fit when they made their MP7, because it was between the P90 and the MP7, and the Germans, when it came their turn, they had a bitch fit and said no. With several other NATO nations, like, no, we're not accepting the 5.7. We want the MP7, which was like in 4.6.
It's 4.6.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it has its own. Is that it's like a caliber unique to that gun, or is it
pretty much?
okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And the funny part is, like, the personal defense weapon. When I was actually looking up, like, what was their specs for it? For NATO, they wanted an SMG and a pistol. And for
in 5.7 or in something else?
Well, no, when they were coming up with the personal defense weapon.
Oh.
And what the requirements they wanted, it had to be a shoulder-fired weapon that had to weigh less than 6.6 pounds with a magazine capacity of at least 20 rounds.
Okay.
The handheld pistol size had to be at least 2.2 pounds with a desirable weight of 1.5 pounds. It had a magazine capacity of at least 20 rounds.
Well, maybe someday I'll pick it up. I don't think I've ever shot. No, that's not. I did shoot a friend's P90S or whatever the civilian configuration is one time. Yeah, PS90. I shot that once. I think that's the only time I've shot 5.7. And I still have, as I've mentioned many times on the show, back before my brother died, he had an AR 5.7 configuration he was building, and I have the pieces for it. I've never completed the build, which would mean a lot to me to complete it. But the bolt carrier group for that particular AR setup, it is a unicorn. It is Bigfoot. It is unobtainium. And the manufacturer for that AR upper, that particular one, because different people have made different AR 5.7 uppers, this one takes P90 mags up top. And you can't find the bolt carrier group for that. So I've been on the hunt for years and years for that. But I'd like to just get a 5.7 handgun. But I've never made that purchase just because the gun is expensive. And then I'm like, when am I gonna? I don't think I would carry this because I don't think I can afford to train with it or to shoot it. Like I'm gonna spend. It's like $1 a round, dude.
You mainly point it at the back guy and say, listen, dude, I don't want to have to mag dump you because I will not recover financially from this.
I will never financially recover from this. Yeah.
Give me the old Tiger King. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
$240,000 to
Yeah.
fire
Well,
this weapon
basically
for
one of
12
the one of the primary reasons why 5.7 ammo is so expensive is that you'll notice it's a lot of cartridges are actually kind of conically shaped. That way, that's why magazines are curved. And so they can stack up against each other sort of in a curved fashion, and
Right.
That makes it easier to feed. 5.7 cartridges are not built that way. They are perfectly parallel to each other. And in order to make it feed properly, they have to coat the exterior of the casing in like this polymer, and that process is really expensive.
So that's why? Huh. Okay.
Also, if you just want to look at interesting gunsmithing, look at how the P90 like feeds the.
I still don't understand that whole thing. Though even the magazine is a mystery to me. That's alien technology. That's why I call it an alien gun. That and the F2000 from FN. I don't understand how they work, but they're cool because they look like alien guns.
Oh god, yeah. Crowd space magic. Don't ever.
All right.
The Germans,
the
they love
G11?
their guns. No, not the G11. Yeah, G11. Yeah, that's what it was. It looks like a fucking clock when you like take it out. Like,
Oh my god, yeah, that whole mechanism is so cool.
Like,
all right,
it's like Germans. Come on, make something at least simple and not complicated.
No, they love to over-engineer things. Okay, it's an age-old tradition for German firearms.
Yeah, that's what they do.
We appreciate the gun talk.
Get the hell out of here.
Oh yes, much.
Have a nice night.
You too.
All right. Egrid's up next. Egrid, are you there? Egrid?
Hi.
What's on your mind, sir?
So far, I would say a lot of people are checked out in politics. I've noticed it even in our local government. Spoken to like a Democratic, like he seems like a cowboy dude, and like I straight up asked him, it's like, like he thought Nick Shirley was a hack, but yet, like, why was California trying to make a law to basically ban him from any investigations, which is kind of hilarious.
Was this guy, he was a Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal?
So the guy is fake and gay. He used to be a Republican. Now he's a Democrat, and like, but like and he used to be Catholic. Now he's like a non-denominational church, and like he kind of wince and whine, even if I asked him about like scripture and whatnot. So it's like, I don't need you to know everything about scripture, but I need you to at least be familiar with it. It's not nothing.
Not everybody gets wiser with age, I guess.
Dude, the guy had veneers, so the guy was like act all cowboy like, but he's the guy knew nothing, and he just like.
So
what
forms his views on things? How does he develop an opinion about characters like Nick Shirley?
He's
whatever his wife's boyfriend tells him.
Yeah.
Well, he just thought he was a hack. Like, I straight up asked him,
like, based on what he read on Reddit or saw on MS Now.
He never substantiated. He just called him a hack. That's it.
I think be a little Socratic about these kinds of things. When people come along and they start making these claims, you say, well, Where'd you get that idea? Why do you think so? Are you sure? You know, try to undermine his confidence, basically, in these dumb opinions.
Oh, dude, I tried, but the guy was just wincing and whines. Like, he refused to. I'm not gonna be put on the spot for not knowing scripture. It's like, dude, if you're gonna be act like a Catholic or a Christian,
Hey, you know
something.
If you're going to voice an opinion, you've already put yourself on the spot. Okay, buddy?
Yeah, you didn't approach him and ask, what is your opinion of Nick Shirley? Or as far as the scripture, did you challenge him?
No,
hey, what
I
is
just,
John 7:2 or something?
No, I asked him I wasn't gonna be mean about it. I was like, hey, do you know about this piece of scripture? Do you know about this piece of scripture? And I even challenged him about Islam. And even he refused to really give a clear answer on that. So the guy was just talking out of his ass and saying, "Oh, my local neighbors wanted me to run for office." It's like,
oh,
dude,
yeah, of course. He's so modest and humble. He would never do it on his own accord. He was put up to it by neighbors who admire him so much.
I don't really want to, but man, they just keep asking.
Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate the call. If you have a final thought, go for it.
Look, people are really checked out in the summer, and no one really gives a shit. I can see Crowder he made a video for the case of fascism. That's how much he is how much he has changed. So it's
yeah, I haven't watched him in years.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's ironic or serious or what. But
he's sort of halfway in between. It's not super serious. He's not, going to start growing out a little mustache anytime soon. But he's definitely getting to the point. He's definitely getting to the point where he's running out of fucks to give.
No, it's not a matter of that. He's justifying it because communism and Islam is on the rise. He's basically he basically has to capitulate the fact that he's losing. And the only way to really upend this is he's trying to say the quiet part loud as much as I don't want to advocate violence, but I need someone to commit violence.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the call, Adrian. Appreciate it. We've had this conversation on the show before about whether it's not a case for fascism, but if you had to choose between a completely deranged democratic republic, constitutional republic, however you characterize the United States, which I believe is, given the human condition and our imperfect nature, the best form of human government that we have. Would you rather have a completely deranged constitutional republic or a very truth-based fascist government, monarchy, central authority? Now, the system of government, even though it's very important to protect against humanity's imperfections, if we are all, in fact, morally depraved, wicked, awful people, totally backward in our relationship with the truth, in our relationship with morality, the government that is a reflection of us is going to be terrible. And I think in a lot of ways we're seeing that today, and hopefully it doesn't get worse, but it seems like it's getting worse in a lot of different ways. Now, I know that the idea of a king who is some sort of demigod himself, who is as close to morally perfect as any human could be, that itself is a fantasy. Nobody exists who behaves that way or has that monopoly on morality in that way, and which is why we protect against ultimate or central authority, because central authority usually gets abused. But to the point on fascism or some kind of central power, if I had to pick between very truth and morally aligned central power versus completely depraved constitutional republic, I mean, don't you have to? Isn't the whole point of everything we enshrine, everything we institutionalize, to get closer to the truth? Isn't that why we do these things, to pursue the truth? That's why we protect the freedoms we have, to get closer to the truth. So it's not to say oh, fascism, monarchy, cool, Joshy boy. But it is to say, like, when you lose track of the truth, aren't those debates kind of secondary? You know?
Well, that's definitely a tough one. You know, Ben Franklin himself suspected that we would eventually devolve to tyranny one day.
Yeah.
I think they all did.
Yeah. Now, I just don't think that the choice itself sounds like a trap to me, because it's like
it's kind of fantasy. It's not actually real, but you know.
But but so trying to operate within that framework, it's like the point, of course, and so maybe I can't say this succinctly and briefly because there's a lot to it, but there's some idea here that the truth and people's individual rights and the concept of human thriving, because some people will try to bring that in, right? And which is valid, right? It's like, what are we after here? What is the ultimate purpose of government, of these systems, of civilization itself? What are we trying to do? And so I do think that there's some sense that they're all kind of there's a unified theory of sorts, right? So like a king may be benevolent, a king may sort of carry out a lot of justice, right, with absolute authority, but at the same time that king could also arbitrarily decide to take away your property or to toss you in prison just because he feels like, you know, he doesn't like you.
Yeah, he's morally perfect until he isn't.
Right.
Yeah, or, you know, even if he is morally perfect for his entire life, that's no guarantee that his kids will be.
Well, you have the hereditary problem too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's some sense in which the power he wields itself is kind of immoral and inappropriate, even if he uses it for good.
And how could you take even the most morally upstanding man ever to live, give him unilateral authority? Will he maintain that moral character? Given the power to do anything he wants in human capability?
Right.
Probably not.
And even if he wants to, even if, like, you know, down to the depths of his soul, he desires that, eventually he's either going to make a mistake or he's going to get, you know, old and senile, and he's going to start committing errors because of that, you know, and or he's going to get bad advice from people. Matt Walsh has a very interesting video about the rise of communism in Russia, and there's an interesting story in there that I wasn't familiar with the history here, but part of the reason that the Bolsheviks rose to power is because a large amount of authority was being improperly wielded, and it sort of it turned on itself based on a series of just like informational errors, right? So like the president thought that his top general had turned on him when he actually hadn't, and they started to basically fight with each other based on just bad information. And so, you know, concentrated power, as well-meaning as it could possibly be, has some pretty glaring issues. So I just don't you know, it doesn't seem like the good king, the good Caesar argument really holds water for long, even if we've got this other alternative. At the same time, let me pay lip service to this a little bit. When you have an existential threat, like the barbarians are at the gates and you're actually all going to die, you know, maybe the calculus changes a little bit.
Or when a bunch of deranged, depraved commies have the vote, you know.
Yeah, you know.
Well, and, you know, again, the founding fathers knew that something like this was going to happen. They did their best, I think, to enshrine our you know, our rights and our liberties in the government. But I think the entire purpose of the Second Amendment is basically to ensure that in the event that their system fails, and it was almost inevitable that it would eventually, some people would find a way to subvert it, that when we got tired of their tyranny and their subversion and their, you know, loopholes and mind games and all that stuff, we could just boom, the end, start again.
Get your 5 7s, boys.
There you go.
In Minecraft. All right. Vong is going to get last call tonight. Vong, are you there?
Hey, Matt, how are ya?
We are well. What's on your mind, sir?
All right. I already mentioned this to him, but I'm calling in because Leaf, buddy, look, I've been friends with you for years, Leaf, but you totally missed the most important part of the story, the 5.7 cartridge.
Oh, really?
Come on, dude.
There's more to
Yeah.
it. What do you got?
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this is that I should say first of all that he's absolutely correct on almost all of that, almost everything he said, if not everything. The interesting thing about it though is that it started before the NATO call for that kind of weapon, because before they put out that call for submissions for a test for a PDW type thing, there had already been growing concerns about the Soviets and their abilities to manufacture specifically body armor out of a combination of Kevlar and titanium that would be pretty handily defeat 9mm. And so this is why the old standby, right, which was the MP5, was kind of falling by the wayside in terms of second line troops, people who are more like, or even more so like reservists who are, working civilian jobs until they're called up, right? Those kinds of people who in NATO's kind of orbat and all that, I should also mention this was mostly in regards to paratroopers, because the big concern was that basically the Soviets would kind of do a blitz style attack, just launch full send essentially, but while advancing on the ground, they'd also land paratroopers all over. And if they're far behind the lines all over, right? And the kind of
And even your
reservists
cooks are going to need a gun, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your random civilian job working reservists who are just a trucker, right? But they're reservists ready to be called up. Well, they need to be able to do something if there's squads of Soviet paratroopers landing everywhere in every country in NATO.
It's like Red
right?
Dawn, man. What are you going to do? You need 5.7.
There you go.
Well, yeah, but that was the point, was that with Kevlar and titanium, this combination could defeat 9mm, so they needed a different caliber that could defeat that kind of armor. And so they had been working on it for a few years before NATO put out the call for submissions.
I gotta wrap this up. But what was the thing that he missed, though? I'm confused about. What did Leaf miss in the story?
That this started well before NATO started.
Okay, so it's just a
putting out
timeline thing.
Yeah, because this started well before NATO actually put it out there. The FN seemingly saw this kind of thing coming. They had their finger on the pulse, and they were watching. They're like, yeah, they're going to be asking for this in a few years. We're going to start working on it now.
All right.
They
well,
did
thank
also
you for
kind
the
of overhype this. They also kind of did overhype the damage the 5.7 cartridge was capable of. There was a rumor spread around for a while that if the 5.7 bullet hit soft body armor, it would actually do more damage to the person wearing the armor than if they weren't wearing it, which is not true.
That's ridiculous. I love it.
Thank you, Vaughn. Yeah. Appreciate the call.
Take care, guys.
Tim, if you're here, actually, I'm going to grab Tim really quick. Hey, Tim, are you there? Tim?
Hello? Sorry, I was just
is the other guy a first-time caller?
Yeah, he seems to be. I was just in the middle of trying to determine that.
If you get him ready to go, drop him in the screening room, and we'll take one more call since he's a first-time guy. All right?
Okay, no worries. I'll have a chat. I'll make sure. He sounds like he's probably going to be okay sound-wise and all that.
Okay.
I'll
I'll check back. Just drop him in one of the rooms if he's ready to go.
Will do, yeah.
All right, thanks. Okay, maybe we'll come back to another live call in a moment if we have a first-time caller, but we do have some voicemails as well, or at least one. We might have more than one. I got to check here because I think maybe one came in during live. But before we get into voicemails, a reminder, if you'd like to submit an email, voicemail, and maybe I'll be able to get text messages back, but those are on a break for now. Check out the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact is where you get all the information to participate in the show that way on your own time. But first voicemail up tonight is from loyal Woodstock listener. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. I forgot a super chat. We do need to check in with our super chatters. You know what? Let's take this voicemail. We'll check in with our super chatters. Loyal Woodstock listener on prosecuting parents for their children's crimes, which we were talking about on Sunday regarding that school shooter dad in Georgia who's now going to prison for not intervening with his school shooter son.
Good evening, Mr. Christiansen. It is your loyal Woodstock listener calling in again. I wanted to add something to your segment from Sunday's show about the parents of school shooters being put in prison for their children's actions. I share most of your concerns about that. Thus far, those have not come true, but I think you're leaving something off the table when you say we should put the absentee fathers in prison. I say we should put the single moms in prison too when their sons join gangs and go out and murder people. It is not a case of these women being deceived or of these women being taken advantage of by bad men. We are 3 or 4 generations deep in our welfare society, and so many of these women will open their legs for a psychopath just to get a government check. And I think that's even more culpable than the fathers abandoning the children, because oftentimes the fathers don't even know they have children until they get called in for a paternity test to get named in a paternity suit. So I just wanted to add that. Yeah, I'll trade the school shooter parents for the gang moms who don't know and don't care what their children are doing, and basically from conception have set their children on a path to become psychopathic murderers. Thank you very much, and I enjoyed the show.
Well, thanks for the call, Mr. Woodstock listener. First of all, let's please be respectful. These are moms of group members, not gang members.
Yeah.
But actually on the subject matter.
He's absolutely right.
Now, to be clear, I actually am not calling for absentee fathers to be prosecuted for the crimes of their sons. I'm only saying that if we want to be consistent with this emerging school shooter strategy, the logic must go that way. I actually am very skeptical of this concept of prosecuting parents for the actions of their kids unless you can show that they were a participant in the crime from like an organizational or encouragement perspective. And we have a couple emails on this story or on this concept as well coming up. So I might save some additional thoughts for when we discuss those. But yeah, on the point of the caller, I don't know that in general moms or dads are more culpable, but I will say that in the concept of urban crime, of group member crime, often the absentee father does not have knowledge of the group member affiliations of the son to the degree that mom might. And it does make sense to me that mom might be more culpable if we buy this sort of culpability in terms of group member activity, gang member activity of the sons. What do you guys think?
Well, this is your periodic reminder, regardless, not to go sowing those wild oats, guys.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the idea of going after parents for the crimes of their juvenile children?
I mean, I don't think it should be a crime to be a crappy parent. Just some people don't have what it takes, and that's unfortunate, but it's not criminal. It shouldn't be.
Well, and it's literally not criminal, right? That's one of the things that bothers me the most about this is if there were laws about it, it would still be highly questionable, and I would probably still disagree.
Child abuse and stuff, but just right. But did you guide them sufficiently? Yeah.
See, an originalist approach to law would say, no, we don't have any laws on the books that say you can be held responsible for crimes you had nothing to do with directly, but you were just kind of a garbage parent and your child ended up kind of bad, and then they went on to do crimes. We do not have laws that say that.
Yeah, I mean, I would generally apply the same rules I would apply to anybody else. And I know this is, now that I'm thinking through it, it's like, well, am I actually wrong? Because the relationship of parent to child is not the same as the relationship of anybody to anybody. But in the our relationship just as pure men, if one of you guys told me I'm going to commit a crime, would you like to help me? And I said, no, I would not. Or let's say I had knowledge of the crime that you were going to commit and I just didn't do anything about it. I don't think that's sufficient to bring a charge against me because I had no part in it, even if I knew, right? But if I said to you, sounds cool, how can I help? Or even not provide assistance, just way to go, man. Awesome. Go rob that bank.
Right. So you encourage it basically.
Do it well. Whatever. Okay, then there's
Do a
some sort of
robbery.
right, some sort of participation angle. Not even in Minecraft. Do it for real, man. Remember
I mean, that's
remember
kind
that
of
famous
excitement,
case of the girlfriend, the teen girlfriend or young girlfriend who told her boyfriend to kill himself, and he did it with by running his car in the garage, and she was held criminally liable for it because she said something like, "Just get it over with. Just do it, man." And then he did, and she actually was criminally charged and convicted for that. But it's that piece that's missing here to me. It's like this, I suppose if you wanted to take the other side, there's the active participation of maybe buying the gun. But so far, we've not seen that sort of encouragement, plotting, active participation.
Yeah, see, but that's the thing. It's like just buying a gun, unless it was for the purpose of committing a crime, that's just you're exercising your Second Amendment right.
Yeah, it's also not illegal. And none of the two parents who have been charged and convicted in Michigan and Georgia, the Crumbleys and this latest guy, I forget his name, in Georgia, who was sentenced last week, not charged for gun possession or transfer reasons. There's nothing they did that was illegal in terms of how they acquired their guns.
No,
yet the guns are the purchase or possession of the guns is treated as quasi-criminal or supportive of a criminal charge, even though it's not by the letter of the law illegal.
Yeah, no, they've clearly abused existing statutes to get this done, and it has been pointed out. I'm not breaking any news here, but there are so many cases of of black group members whose parents absolutely could be found guilty of the same kinds of things but aren't. So this seems like some kind of an effort to do something else than pursue justice.
Let's talk to our new caller and super chatters. I see you guys. We don't have a ton of super chats. I'm just going to save it for the end of the show, but I do appreciate Calico Republic, VV, Laughing Boy. Tim's in there as well. We will come back to your super chats maybe before emails or at the end of the show, just so we'll get those all in a group together. Thank you guys for supporting the show. It's much appreciated. Let's talk to Poblolo. Am I saying that correctly?
Oh, yeah, it's close enough.
What do you got for us? First of all, thanks for calling in. But what's on your mind?
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I've been listening for years. This is pretty cool.
Well, thanks for joining.
No, I just want to talk about mainly data centers.
Oh man, I wanted to talk about data centers today. So
well, you guys have at it.
Well, I usually listen to the show the next day because I work early, so I don't know what you guys have talked about tonight necessarily. I was trying to tune in.
No data center talk. This is fresh.
And I know Skulldugger last week referenced it a little bit, but
actually, it's kind of a bit like let's talk data centers, but we never do. Knowing Skulldugger, I'm guessing, and he's probably out there ripping out his luxurious hair at me mischaracterizing his position. I'm guessing he loves data centers though, because he kind of likes. Not that he's contrarian. He takes his takes are often a little bit unusual. So I'm guessing he loves data centers. Probably.
No, Skull is actually kind of anti, but mixed.
Really?
Probably.
Okay. I'll let him speak for himself next time.
I assumed he was pro data centers, but no, I'm not going to debate the merits for or against because I feel like both sides could be made, but it's more so on a personal note, and it's just interesting. It reminds me of Yellowstone a lot with the situation you had going on that show, where I live in this really small county in southern Indiana. And I mean, we got like 20,000 people in the county, and most of that, like a plurality of that, is from one town. And there's this, I don't know what company it is, but they are trying to build a data center, a major data center here in this county. I mean, we are like 90% farmland, like cornfields. I went to high school here and moved away for a little bit, and then came back here to start my family. And within like 2 miles of our house, they're talking about doing this massive data center. And there's talk on one side about how it drains the water out here because we're all on well water, and does different kind of. I don't know necessarily about that. I'm not educated enough on that matter, but it's just a massive change of life for the people who live out here. And to say people are like protesting and organizing against this is an understatement. It seems like 75% of the county is just visiting or going to these town council meetings, and and protesting and objecting to this. And then our city council, I should say county commissioners, is probably a better way to put them, signed an NDA with this company saying that they're not going to talk about what's being discussed about building this data center. It's like, we voted for these people, and they're clearly, like, if they vote for this, they're going against what they voted, if they voted in for, what their people are speaking out
Well, the
against.
lack of transparency is concerning. That itself is a giant red flag, regardless of whether you are pro data center or not. The thing about the data centers, I get it. They take up a lot of space. They can be resource intensive. It seems like everybody's kind of got a not in my backyard attitude about it. Not that I want 100%. One in my backyard, but what I will say is, I don't. I like the open spaces around here. I don't want a data center blocking my mountain views. I also love the internet, and I also love making stupid AI images that probably use data center resources. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is we want, a lot of us want the power that is produced by these things, but we don't want to be the place where the power is actually running and generated and all that.
Many such cases.
So maybe can we just make like all of Nevada one big data center? Like that's all federal land anyway, and there's nothing there.
That's true. Here in Phoenix, we've got a ton of data centers already, and more are being put up all the time, and we don't care.
There's not a lot of water down there either. How are you guys managing water?
No, but that kind of demonstrates the point. People are always freaking out that they use up resources. It's fine. It doesn't really impact our water at all.
Can I ask? I was reading some people talking about this in Poblolo. Sorry, your name's hard to say, but
sorry. Think Pablo. Another low. I messed up not putting the A in it.
Poblolo. Anyway, I don't know if you guys know the answer to this, but this is just my tech question about it that I don't understand. So the water resources are for cooling of the processing going on there, right? It's like computer cooling. That's the water need.
Yeah, but just like think about the liquid cooling of a computer normally.
Yes,
it's circular. It doesn't.
That's what I don't understand. Like, or a radiator in your car is a closed system.
That's why it's not a big deal, even though it's here in Phoenix.
So they act like it's chugging water. Is it not, like pulling a mass amount of water it needs a fixed amount of water that is large, but once it's full, is it kind of full?
Yeah, that for the most part that's true. And so our water bills are not seeing huge spikes. They really aren't.
Okay.
Even though it's Phoenix. So the electricals, not really even a big deal either. And believe me, our power bills here are huge because everybody is running AC constantly.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And even that isn't particularly affected by the data centers, because what they do is over time they add to the existing electrical infrastructure. And so despite the fact that everybody has all these suspicions that they're going to cause these huge problems, they don't really materialize in the way that people expect. And so a lot of this NIMBYism is misplaced. I don't want to totally dismiss everybody's concerns, because it's like, hello, man.
Hold on. I got a voice. Sorry, I accidentally played a voicemail that came in.
Yeah.
Don't be alarmed.
Because it's like, all right, there is some neo-Luddism going on, but at the same time, it's like, respect people, respect the constituents, respect the voters. I think what needs to happen here is a change in messaging. So it's like the right way to approach it is not, you're totally right, and we need to stop data centers now because that's happening in Texas, right? Greg Abbott announced a moratorium on all new data center construction, which is crazy to me. But so that's bad. And it's also bad to say, hey, listen up, you idiots. You're going to get data centers whether you like it or not, stupid. Both of those options are extreme. What we need to be doing here is acknowledging how important they are and saying, all right, the question is not whether or not we should have data centers, it's how do we get to yes. And so that's what people should be talking about. How can we get to a point where these stakeholders, if I may use kind of a lefty term,
that is a polluted term now. I can't stand hearing it.
Yeah. But the voters, message to them and say, okay, guys, look, we hear what you're saying. How can we get to yes? How can we make you happy? That's what I think.
Poblolo, thank you for the call. Do you have a final data center thought before I let you go?
No, I can't imagine this is the most thrilling conversation for the rest of the viewers. So I don't want to bore anyone to death with
thank
my
you.
data center talk.
Thank
so.
you for calling in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully in the
love
future
you.
I'll have something
You're
a little
very
more exciting
special.
to talk about.
It's always exciting. We always talk about talking data centers and then we don't. And you're the first guy who actually did. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's just don't tread on my don't step on my lawn with the data centers.
Yeah,
I guess,
fair enough.
How I feel.
All right,
it was nuance until
Proud NIMBYist.
All right, man. Have a great night.
Have a good night, guys.
Take care now.
Okay, that'll do it on live callers. Appreciate it. Batman, you have any data center thoughts before we move on?
Not really. I'm totally unfamiliar with this topic, so.
Well, I did get another voicemail to the inbox, and I didn't even look at the transcript, so I don't know who the caller is. Actually, let's see. This is Super Chatter AP, and I don't know what the topic is. Let's see what Super Chatter AP has to say.
Hello, Matt and crew, to Super Chatter AP. I wanted to call in and hopefully make a suggestion of a story to check out. I live in Illinois, and near where I live is a city called Mokina. It seems a terrorist plot was possibly thwarted, as they call him an Oak Lawn Man, is some guy from the Middle East, was armed with 3 Molotov cocktails and was on his way to use them somewhere. But not only was he arrested, ICE picked him up. So, yeah, might be a great article to check in on, and I hope you guys have a great evening. Keep up the amazing work.
Well, thank you. That's news to me. Appreciate your call. I have not heard anything about this story. Picked up with Molotov. How do you get picked up for Molotov cocktails? It's not like building a bomb where buying the pieces might set off some alarms. You're buying like bottles and some kind of fuel, maybe just the alcohol itself, and a lighter and a rag. How do you get caught doing that?
Generally, it's not just the alcohol itself. I don't think alcohol burns hot enough to really do the kind of damage
Well, what
that
do they
people
put
want
in
to
there?
do
Like
with
gasoline
Molotov
or
cocktails.
something?
Yeah.
Okay. So you buy gasoline. How hard is that?
It's not hard. I didn't say it was hard. I was just
Yeah,
saying
I just don't understand how you
booze.
get caught. Like, how are you on someone's radar? It must have been more than that, obviously, some kind of plotting or something. But if you're doing some kind of plotting, how is your plot to put gasoline in a bottle and stick a rag in there and light it on fire? You need something more sophisticated.
Well, there's also supreme incompetence in getting caught.
Yeah,
doing something stupid, I guess. I
Speaking
was
of
building them in my backyard with an open fence,
Speaking of weapons, I've never or rarely used. I guess I have shot 5.7 at least once, but effectively never thrown a Molotov cocktail. No idea what that's like. You guys ever tossed one?
Oh no. That's
seems like it'd be fun.
Tossing a Molotov. Well,
safely in Minecraft.
Just don't do it in Spokane.
Yeah, I would not do it by the railroad tracks in Spokane. I'm more responsible than that.
Yeah. I mean, of all the ways that I would commit political violence, that one's like nowhere on my radar.
All right, thank you, AP. Appreciate your call. And I'll check back in the voicemail inbox if anybody wants to leave a voicemail through the rest of the show. But we got to catch up with emailers as well, because I have several emails. And as a reminder, you can send an email to the show through the contacts page on my website as well. But first up is a very interesting predicament from Harry Newsack? Harry Nussack?
Got him! Got him!
I don't know if it's new or not, but his sack holds something. All right. How bad do you think it is when people in heterosexual relationships refer to their boyfriend or girlfriend as their partner?
Well,
ugh. I always refer. Sorry, you have a comment? How
no,
bad is it?
Yeah, I'm again it. I don't like it.
They're probably gays.
I always refer to my girlfriend as my girlfriend, but I recently found out that she had made a post on LinkedIn referring to me as her partner, saying something like, my partner and I both started jobs in a new city last month. Now, I admit that it irks me a little bit, and I'm kind of considering talking to her about it, but I don't want to come off like language police towards someone who is well-intentioned. What would you do if you were in this situation? So it is completely cringe. The terms boyfriend and girlfriend, and especially husband and wife, which is supposed to be the end result of that relationship, those things mean something. That is a unique bond that should be properly identified because that relationship has the unique property that no other does.
Don't make me tap the sign.
But we won't get into that. In this situation, I would not appreciate being called a partner, and I would have this conversation with my girlfriend, but I would give your girlfriend the benefit of the doubt and assume that she is just doing the corporate speak that is normal in the business world. She probably picked this up in, whatever training or whatever class she was in or something like that. I wouldn't take it as a personal slight off the bat. But I would talk to her in a non-accusatory way, and I would not frame it as though you're angry. It doesn't sound like you're angry. You're just a little irritated, but I think that irritation is justified. If it was me, I would just explain why I don't like the term partner. I don't even know that you have to say, you did this on a LinkedIn post. Maybe if you're sly, you can kind of do this without even referencing that, although you'll probably connect the dots. But you can explain why you don't like that term partner. And if it was me, I would say it's because it reduces the value and the distinction of what boyfriend and girlfriend are, and of course, what husband and wife are and what they have. If you say partner, it makes it sound like you're just friends. You're just two people hanging out. And it's not. What you have is a union designed to build family and build future. It's something special. It's something unique. Husband and wife both have a role in that purpose. Therefore, they have their distinct terms. I believe in that purpose. I'm sure you believe in that purpose, which is why you care about these terms. A partner is just insignificant. It could be anybody. Husband is special, and it could not be anybody to a particular wife. So I want to be a husband. I'm sure you want to be a husband. By the way, I hope you're dating for marriage. If you want that special designation, you have to treat the relationship as special. But to finish this up, because I could go on and on and on about sign tapping topics, you're not wrong to be bothered, and your reasons are correct. I think a good man would speak up about this because it is actually of foundational importance to what your relationship is. And if you talking about that bothers her, she's not the right one. But prepare yourself for that possibility. If she's hostile to this conversation, she's not the right one, assuming you are aiming toward a traditional marriage relationship here.
Yeah, all right. I got a plan for you, Newsack, my homie. Tell me what you think about this. Tell her, hey, I saw your LinkedIn post and I thought, partner? That's lame. Tell you what, let's upgrade that to husband. You feel me?
Bingo.
How's that sound?
That does solve the issue.
You see what I'm saying? It's like just cut straight to the chase and be like, I don't like this partner thing. Let's upgrade that.
Just parlay it into a marriage proposal. But what if he ends up? What if he ends up being a husband partner? You gotta confront it.
To make that part of the proposal is like, but you have to drop the partner stuff and just say husband. Deal?
Batman, I'm going to speculate about how you might handle this.
I will fucking end you.
Something like that.
Why does that sound so much like you?
Was that asshole on the Ring doorbell camera?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
His voice is so similar. I love it.
It really is.
I hate it. Oh, I hate it so much. That guy's so cringe. At least I don't have those eyebrows. Jesus Christ.
Through the Milhouse eyebrows, yeah. Well, what would you do in this situation?
No, I think I would probably do something similar. Just, hey, that's kind of, these days, that's kind of loaded language. Is that really the kind of, really the way you want to refer to me? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that.
If I was going to take it head on and say, I saw the post and I don't like it, I might even say, you're not a partner to me. Like, a partner is somebody who I run a business with. A partner is someone I work on a school project with. Okay. What we are building is something far more meaningful than that. And
Partner's
it can't be just anybody.
Cowboy.
Right. So I might take it that way. Like, I might take the approach of, you are not a partner to me for these reasons. By the way, the reasons are that you have a special, unique relationship with me. And that way you can kind of avoid the browbeating that it sounds like.
Element.
Yeah. Like you're trying to talk down and language police. You can sort of, I don't want to say like couch this in a compliment, because that's not what it is. The reason that it bothers you is exactly that. It's because you don't view this relationship as merely a partnership. It's something more. So you can say why it means something more to you, And I think that will be appreciated. And if she doesn't appreciate that, like I said, she's the wrong one.
Tell her,
that's simple as
doesn't that sound kind of stale, kind of clinical? It doesn't seem very romantic.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, Minnesota root beer enjoyer. Good luck, Harry. Let us know how it goes. Minnesota root beer enjoyer. I saw a woman in her 70s, complete with her walker, protesting at a stoplight in the rain. Can you explain why she would do this? There's a lot of Trump. Yeah, it could be like legitimate mental illness. It could be Trump derangement syndrome that is common in the older generation that grew up protesting and is still searching for purpose in it. What do you guys think about the role? So we know that the birth rate is lower. We know that fewer young people are having kids. That necessarily means that older people are less commonly grandparents, or they have fewer grandchildren. Do you think that is part of what seems like a bizarre, aimless older generation that is spending their elder years standing on the streets with swastika signs and fuck ICE signs and all this nonsense?
Yeah, I mean, these are the people who don't care about their families, so they have to have something to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not even a lack of families. It's more like, I mean, because this is actually driving a wedge between family members, unfortunately. And it seems like what's going on here is a whole host of things, like old people can consume a lot of mainstream news, and they just go nuts eventually. You know, over years and years of exposure to that stuff, eventually they're just like, Trump is destroying the country.
It's like lead paint or asbestos. It gets in your brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It creates like an actual chronic mental issue that drives a wedge between them and their own kids and grandkids and so on, especially if they should dare to be pro-Trump. So unfortunately, you know, that, like, I can tell you from personal experience, this is an issue.
All right. Thank you, Minnesota root beer enjoyer. We got actually 2 from Be Humble. And since I think we'll have enough time, I guess he's going to get away with it.
I'll allow it.
These are really just kind of pieces of commentary on some stuff that we've been talking about recently. Last week, we had a question about whether it's if there's any benefit to living among left-wingers, liberals, leftists, whatever. Because sometimes people say that maybe you get better art or culture, or it's intellectually stimulating to engage with people who disagree with you. So Be Humble says,
keep saying that.
Yeah. If living next to liberals was more desirable than living next to conservatives, we would see people from Texas and Florida flocking to California and New York instead of the exact opposite of that.
He's absolutely right.
And it's tough to argue. Like, whatever the small benefit of, like, oh, I like good faith discussions with people I disagree with. Yeah, sometimes that's interesting, and sometimes you feel like you might be able to persuade them, or sometimes they might change your mind on something. But for the most part, these people who have these people have an impeccable track record of ruining where they live. And if you have them move into your neck of the woods in sufficient quantity, they will invariably ruin where you live. So I don't need the intellectual stimulation. You can get that on the internet if you are looking for that.
You know, it's worth noticing, kind of to his point, one of the most popular genres of like Hallmark Channel movie is the exact opposite of moving to the big city and, you know, experiencing the culture.
It's big city people moving into the middle of absolutely nowhere, and then every single one of those movies has exactly the same plot.
Right. And it's like, and they love it, right? They love the culture that they find there, and it's not anything like they thought when they were, like, you know, arrogant city people who thought that those bumpkins didn't know, you know, they're just out there being rubes, living boring lives, and they're like, no, this is really actually very. It's a rich culture. It's full of all kinds of interesting people.
Well, and culture is, at least in terms of what it contributes to your life, is not uniquely human. The natural world is also a major contributor to your quality of life. In the Yellowstone world, we heard that referenced earlier. That's in the fictional TV world, not the national park. One of the spinoffs is called The Madison. That came out this spring, and it's about a New York City family. What's the guy from, how am I spacing on his name? 80s actor, Big Trouble in Little China. what else? He's in The Thing. What's the guy's name?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell is
I
like
was
the main.
I was gonna say Russell Kirk, and I'm like, no, he's the conservative thinker. Never mind.
Anyway, this guy has his whole family of prissy New York City women, and he escapes to a fishing shack on the Madison. That's how he gets away from his nonsense New York City life. And spoiler alert on the show, even though it's kind of the premise of the show, so you're going to know going in, he dies. And his New York City family comes to visit his Montana property that they never came to visit. And these prissy New York City people suddenly realize, wow, there is something to be said about living in a makeshift cabin beside a river with largely nobody around. And all you do is fish, and all you do is listen to the birds and the animals and watch the tall grass blow in the wind and look at the snow-capped peaks far away and look at the stars at night that you can't even see in the city. When we talk about escaping people, it's not just escaping the crazies, though that is important. It's also about just reconnecting with the natural world. Like, so many people grow up in New York City or these places where it's concrete jungle everywhere. You forget, or maybe have never even been in a natural landscape. That's also important.
Yeah. Now I know you haven't seen this, Matt, because you don't watch movies. So I'll ask Batman. Did you see the Tim Allen movie from 1997 called For Richer or Poorer?
No, I can't say I have.
So this is a fun comedy about how Tim Allen and his sort of spoiled wife end up, for various wacky reasons, spending some time living with the Amish. And it's exactly that concept where they experience a life that is closer to where they get to experience nature a little bit, like Matt is saying.
This wouldn't happen to have Seth Green in it, would it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a good movie. For Richer or Poorer, go watch it.
All right. Be Humble has another thought. And that is about the parents being prosecuted for the criminal activities of their juvenile children. He says, as someone who worked at a juvenile facility for extreme offenders, I can tell you that if we prosecuted every parent who had full knowledge of their child's intent and ability to commit gun crimes, there would be a lot fewer strong, independent, single mothers of color walking around. In fact, even if we increase the standard to parents who enable and encourage the criminality, we would miss out on a lot of more interventions by women of color. Science would certainly take a step back. That's true. We would sacrifice a lot. But this is
so many doctors and astronauts and whatnot.
Right. This is another observation of moms in the group member community, not just having knowledge of the group member activities of their usually teenage sons, but perhaps even facilitating, supporting, maybe participating in to some extent. I'm sure that's pretty common. Yeah, right. Something like that.
You kind of mentioned being against it before, but I would have to give a little more thought to a kind of see something, say something rule. Like, you're definitely morally wrong if you know that your kid's going to go like, let's say, try to kill the president or something, right? It's like, you're morally obligated to put a stop to that nonsense. But as far as the law goes, I don't know. I'd be listening. I'm at least going to have to think about that. But I'll tell you what, I'll tell you where you're really right. If we started to do this, they would back off the Crumblies and people like that pretty fast.
Well, there is no. Go ahead, Batman.
There's actually a super chat on this topic that I think is apropos here. The way to fix this is Guardian Games Studios. The way to fix all group activity is to take away the EBT cards from mothers of group members and watermelon felons if their offspring is convicted of Mitch McConnelling someone.
Oh, that's an interesting
Bingo.
idea. That's an incentive.
That's good. I like that.
We'll see.
That's not even cool. Like, why they do that?
Try it out. Thank you, Spencer. And as a reminder, Spencer at Guardian Game Studios behind the Matt Christiansen Media Mayhem game Got 2 more weeks for the game's pre-orders. MattChristiansenmedia.com/game to check that out. Appreciate his work on it. Okay, thank you, Be Humble. Next up is Micah, and Micah has more thoughts on this same topic of parental legal culpability for the criminal activity of children. When it comes to the story of charging parents for the child's crime, I was troubled by the quote from the judge in the sentencing. So this is that Georgia case that we're talking about on Sunday. He basically said the father was convicted because the warnings were there and he didn't do anything, or at least didn't do enough. I know the answer to this question, but I'd like to ask the judge if that standard will be applied to judges, prosecutors, police, or other so-called civil servants. Obviously, it wouldn't. Obviously, it won't, because, as you pointed out, this is a legal theory tailored to prosecute political opponents. So, again, there's if we're going with this parental responsibility, there's no coherent argument that says yes, go get the mass shooter parents, but no, don't get the group member moms in the urban setting because they didn't do nothing or whatever. You have to take them both. So, if we're doing this deal for the law to apply to everybody, we got to be consistent. But I agree here too. That if parents are held criminally accountable, we absolutely must hold judges, prosecutors who let criminals go after they've committed terrible crimes. We have to hold them accountable. If they give them light sentences and they go out and they reoffend, whatever, there's no coherent argument in favor of the parents in the school shooting context, but not the judges and the prosecutors who know these people are dangerous, who know they've committed crimes, and let them go anyway to reoffend. You got to put them in the pot too.
As a matter of fact, that sounds way more reasonable, because they are directly sitting in on, the process, the legal process of examining criminals and their histories and what they're capable of. Parents, I mean, come on, obviously they're going to be biased. That's where the didn't do nothing meme comes from, right? It's like, he a good boy, he didn't, he would never, he's being unfairly persecuted, all that stuff. The judge is supposed to be, and the prosecutors, they're supposed to be way more objective, right? They're disinterested. They don't have anything to do with that person. So that, I would say they bear a much greater responsibility when they go letting criminals free who go on to reoffend.
Well, especially the judges need to be impartial. That's kind of the entire point of their job.
That's prosecutors
sometimes, prosecutors sometimes, however, they may have a motive to basically put somebody away who didn't necessarily deserve to, because they're,
insofar as they're politicians,
their
incentives are kind of corrupt.
Yeah, the spirit of their job is supposed to be aggression toward the criminal, and yet in many cases they're softer than, they're not softer than the defense team, but they are like the Soros-backed DAs, which is kind of a meme, but it's real. I mean, like, there was a massive campaign to put these people in place, and when they are like a variant of a defense attorney themselves. In fact, look at like Chesa Boudin in San Francisco. He's not the prosecutor there anymore. He was recalled, I believe. But he came from the public defender's office and became the district attorney in San Francisco because he was elected. Not that you can't go between, like, a good lawyer can argue either side of a case. I get that. But it stands to reason he was funded. He was put in position to do this, not because he had any particular desire to be aggressive with criminals. In fact, it was the opposite.
Yeah.
And when you have someone who philosophically opposes the point of the office, ultimately it's a judgment call by the people of whether they think he's suited for that office or not. But don't you have to kind of question, like, for whatever your view of government is, and however heavy-handed we should be on criminals or not, don't you kind of want a prosecutor who's, if you have to err on one side, tougher? Because that's his job?
When you consider all the different ways in which our system is biased in favor of suspects, right? It's like, we are very tough on prosecution from the jump, right? We have high standards of evidence. You have
as we should, but
until proven guilty.
Yes. So we have this concept, innocent until proven guilty. And we've got even things that we probably shouldn't, like the whole Miranda rights thing. But so we've got these high standards. We need somebody in this system, in this process somewhere, who actually wants to get the guy.
Yes, in its design, the prosecution and the defense are supposed to be adversarial, and if they're not sufficiently adversarial, then the whole thing is just a show. It doesn't actually serve a function.
Yeah.
But that's how you get places like San Francisco. Anyway, thank you, Micah. Next up, and actually last for emails tonight, we have Dr. Raymond Edward Pitler, which sounds like a joke name, but I don't know how it's a joke, so I guess he did in fact get me. But he has a Mitch McConnell update.
He died.
We still don't know. Good evening. I am Dr. Raymond Edward Pitler, but my friends, colleagues, and patients call me Ray. My colleagues and I at the St. Celestine Teaching Hospital in Tanith Magna have been discussing the recent events. We've come to the conclusion that Mitch McConnell has suffered from something known as unaccounted death. One of my colleagues, a Cadillac specialist, believes this does have something to do with the death of Lindsey Graham. She called it a weekend at Bernie's event that caused Graham's heart to give out. I am unsure of which Bernie, whether Madoff or Sanders, was involved. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Still awaiting news of Mitch's death. I predicted it was coming imminently this week because August 3rd is the special election deadline, at least theoretically, in Kentucky, and now we're past it. And so he's going to be brain dead or just resign or retire this week. It didn't happen. But I saw a tweet earlier this week that made me laugh. I don't have it handy, but the tweet just said, "It is so sad that Mitch McConnell died tomorrow."
I saw that.
We just haven't reached it yet. But it's coming.
Well, I'm curious what this unaccounted death term means, but I'm not finding a definition for it.
I think it's just a
you
bit.
Google it and it comes
Okay,
up with
so
a lot
chat,
of...
help me out with this, chat. This is like Ray Pitler, so it's like Rape Hitler. What kind of joke is that?
Oh, okay.
Rape Hitler? I don't know.
It's a rape joke. Okay.
I get a grape joke. Man, I'm really bad at this whole self-censoring thing.
You can say grape. You just can't say chimp out, but you can say grape. Okay. Tim actually did have some thoughts, and since we're a little bit ahead of time here, I'm going to read Tim's email because he wanted to talk about disorderly conduct and how we're talking about disorderly conduct with regard to Shiloh Hendricks, because of course she was convicted of disorderly conduct, even though there wasn't really conduct. She just said the N-word to a guy and walked away. So the conduct was speech. And there was, I think it was Be Humble or who sent an email last week questioning the concept of disorderly conduct, whether that is too broad to be a legitimate law or whether it necessarily implicates speech in its design. And Skulldugger and Neo and I were talking about this, and my opinion, and I think it was generally the consensus of the group, the problem is not disorderly conduct, the law, because we need broad catch-all laws that generally capture jackassian behavior that is obstructive or abusive to others. And if we were to write every little thing in a long list of things, it doesn't make sense to write that long list of things instead of just have a general catch-all law that can be prosecuted and a jury can judge upon. I think, as we were discussing with the group last week, if you're worried about the speech implications, well, first of all, it's called disorderly conduct, and conduct should mean something. But if you want to be double sure, it's much easier just to put exclusionary language in the law. This law shall not be interpreted to cover mere matters of speech alone, period. And handle the law that way. Now, Tim is a little bit less comfortable with the concept of disorderly conduct even qualified that way. So Tim says, last week I said, I think disorderly conduct seems like a bullshit law that prosecutors can use when someone hasn't actually broken the law. I would argue basically every behavior that may be viewed as disorderly conduct has a law already: excessive public intoxication, violating noise ordinances, vandalism, even more aggressive actions like assault or battery or arson.
Or
in the Shiloh Hendricks case that inspired the chat, she was only charged with disorderly conduct seemingly because she didn't actually do anything actually illegal, and so disorderly conduct was, in my opinion, a vaguely classified law. that was used to unfairly punish her. I agree laws need to exist regarding conduct, but they need to be specific about what the conduct was. It also sounded like you guys were saying that getting too specific with conduct creates far too many laws, but the law already does get specific. For example, murder laws can be specific that they have first and second degree subcategories that differentiate between premeditation versus murder committed in the heat of the moment. To wrap this up, this is, again, why I would call disorderly conduct a bullshit law. If you can't specifically cite the illegal action someone engaged in, I really struggle to accept you getting just to say you were disorderly and charge someone with that. Thoughts? Well, I would say we are specific in the law. However, I will note that what you're citing for those specifics are very high-level crimes. Okay, we're not talking about murder here. We're talking about general jackassian behavior in public. For example, does the law say I can't follow someone 10 feet behind them down the street doing jumping jacks and calling them a silly goose everywhere they go? No, it doesn't say that. But if I did that, and I wouldn't leave a guy alone, you'd have a disorderly conduct charge. There are any number of ways to behave like a general low-level jackass that can and should be prosecuted, and I would favor a system that just has a general law to be applied at prosecutor's discretion to be judged by a jury that excludes speech. But I think we're actually hung up on the same point, because I would agree with your analysis on Shiloh Hendricks. She was charged with this law, I agree, because they had nothing else to get her on, or charged with violating this law because they had nothing else to get her on. If there was anything specific, they would have gone with it, but they don't. I don't think the answer is to undo the concept of disorderly conduct. I just think it needs to be, I don't even know that it needs to be specified any further, because again, conduct is in the name and there's no conduct here beyond the content of the speech. But if I was in the state legislature, if I was advising or lobbying the Montana state legislature for how to handle this, that's what I'd say. Put one exclusionary clause in there. Speech alone is not sufficiently conduct for the purposes of this law.
Yeah,
Done.
you might find other exclusions down the line. But yeah, I am a big believer in the idea that few and simple is better. I appreciate the brevity of our Constitution. And the idea that now in terms of legislation, we've got like millions upon millions of pages of laws. That's ridiculous. So yeah,
another method by which you could potentially curtail this kind of behavior is relax the assault laws.
Okay, how so?
If somebody, if somebody is following you around and calling you a silly goose and won't leave you alone and is harassing you constantly, and you punch him in the face, the judge goes, "Well, that was deserved. Get out."
Well, you were kind of asking for it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is,
there's a wonderful example of this from back in the 1800s. There's a politician, and yes, for those who are inevitably going to say this, I did learn this from the Fat Electrician. There was a politician named Cassius Marcellus Clay, who liked to go around giving speeches, and he was basically a very, very staunch abolitionist. And at one point, basically somebody tried to assassinate him, came up to him, shot him in the chest. Fortunately, he was wearing a knife at the time. The knife caught the bullet, and then he proceeded to take this guy apart, like cut off his nose, cut off one of his ears, gouge his eye out. It's all this thing.
He actually dissected him.
Yeah. So the assassin then tried to sue him because he figured, once I got stabbed in the chest, you'd already, paid me back for the bullet that I tried to give you. So the rest of it was, indecent conduct and all this stuff. And I swear to God, his cousin, Henry Clay, comes in to be his defense attorney. And his entire defense for this behavior was, "Your Honor, this is standard behavior for a Kentuckian." And the judge bought it and threw out the case.
Is fucking bullshit.
The old Shiloh defense, yeah. It worked. And here's the other piece that we're not considering. I have not ironed out my own philosophy on jury nullification. I'm kind of conflicted on it, because even though it is a practical possibility, I don't love the idea of 12 people selected by the prosecution, the defense, with the oversight of the judge, being able to wipe out the will of the people in the form of the law.
Right.
However, that is the way the system is designed. You get instructions from a judge. You're supposed to follow those instructions. But if a jury of 12 says,
this whole thing is fucking bullshit.
Even if by the letter of the law, the person is guilty, they can vote to acquit for whatever reasons they want. And if we had a culture, a society that actually valued speech for its own sake and viewed it as worthy of the protection against the law in this way, that's all they have to say in the case of Shiloh Hendricks. Like, I don't know that any statutory reform in the state of Minnesota or anywhere else is going to matter more than people who actually believe in free speech principles in the first place. And if they don't exist, then the law is not going to reflect that value anyway.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm definitely going to grant the point that the idea of jury nullification is definitely flawed. And, you know, again, I'm going to cite our founders a little bit. They did have some concerns about tyranny of the people, right? It's like tyranny can come from anywhere, and it can come from the mob just as easily as it can come from an individual tyrant. And especially nowadays when you have all of these tribal enclaves forming, they can, you know, let's say you're in Dearborn or someplace, jury nullification can get off everybody who is like a Muslim for every single crime or misdeed.
They could just agree as a tribe to acquit every single Muslim charged.
Yeah, but if you're white, guilty every time.
Yes. And it sounds like a ridiculous hypothetical, but how far off is that really?
It's already
look at the OJ case. We've had people who were on the OJ jury come out and say, yeah, we knew he kind of did it, but he was black, so we let him go.
And it was revenge for Rodney King.
Rodney King, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Tim. Appreciate your thoughts and your help with the show. Appreciate all our emailers. And again, if you would like to submit an email to the show or a voicemail or maybe a text message in the future when the old phone number gets restored. We'll see if that ever happens. I don't know. Head on over to the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact is how you participate in the show that way. But we're going to close out with some super chat. We've made you super chatters wait all night. Appreciate your patience and your support for the show. Let's see what they have.
By the way, the whole rape Hitler thing, that whole email was a joke. I just realized Tanith Magna is a place in Warhammer 40K.
You thought that whole thing was serious? I thought that.
No. I meant it was
a particular joke.
I took it more seriously than I should have.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think the whole thing was like this actually 100% happened, but I think the whole thing was a reference to something that I didn't get.
So somebody in the chat said it was an EFAP reference, which I know what EFAP is, but I don't watch it, so I wouldn't have known.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, actually, Mahler called the villain from Supergirl rape Hitler throughout his entire video, didn't he? Okay, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Although I do like Mahler. He's got interesting videos.
Calico Republic. Predictions for Wisconsin midterms. I haven't paid close attention to what's going on in Wisconsin other than this Francesca Hong person running for governor. Have you guys seen her?
Not really.
She is she's a single mother, as you can probably infer, of Chinese descent, and she is running for governor I gather on the basis of being a single mom with 2 jobs, from what I've heard from her talking. But
some qualifications.
People have gone back and looked at some of her old tweets and old takes. Among them, she tweeted in 2019 she was at a burger restaurant with her kid and was dismayed to see how many old white people were there. So she lied to her kid and said they had no more ice cream and made her leave because there were too many old whites in a burger restaurant in Wisconsin, which is something like an 80% white state. And she's trying to explain that away. She's also had takes recently that Thanksgiving is an inherently oppressive holiday and needs to be deleted from the calendar. She's trying to explain. So we'll see. I believe the Wisconsin primary is it Saturday or Wednesday? It's this coming week at some point. So we'll see if Francesca Hong is the Democrat nominee for governor.
That is unbelievably subversive. You know, it's like these people, they come in and they're like, Yeah, so vote for me. I hate white people. I hate you homegrown Americans. I hate your traditions, your culture. That's my platform. Vote for me.
See, and this is what I mean about assault laws. Somebody who says that kind of stuff to an American should get decked.
In Minecraft.
Mm.
She should get 5-7 in Call of Duty on Rust.
Yeah.
720 no scoped off the top. Now, Francesca Hong was asked by Caitlin Collins on CNN about her Thanksgiving take, and she kind of explained it away, like, oh, she's, mealy-mouthed half regrets it. But she said as part of her explanation that it is a painful holiday for many. Bull fucking shit it is. Who is hurt on Thanksgiving? Not even all the drunkest Indians on the Indian reservations around here are hurt on Thanksgiving. They're eating turkey and cranberry sauce just like everybody else.
Yeah, listen, if we had some kind of a celebration of, like, I don't know, Cortez or something, right? It's like, all right, I might disagree with you, right? But that's another story. Cortez based. But anyway, but Plymouth is like the best we have to offer in our history, right? This was a great moment. And if even that displeases you somehow, then you hate the country. You hate everything about America as it is, and you want it gone.
You can fuck off.
There's no way to
spin it. These are commies we're talking about. Of course they hate this country.
Of course, right. But so that's my point. There's no way to spin this. It's just like, no, you're done. You can't come back from that.
The lore and to a large degree the myth of Indian abuse is, all right, look, we did some shit. All right. That's not like the settlement of the West was all peachy. All right. Some shit happened for sure. But I was watching a documentary on Sitting Bull recently, Lakota leader who was aligned with Red Cloud and Crazy Horse and fighting the U.S. Army at the time of setting up all these reservations in the Black Hills and all that, mid to late 1800s. And they're talking about Sitting Bull and why he was such a respected and feared warrior. And of course, this whole documentary is framed like, oh, the whites were scheming in the East to come steal all their shit. Yeah, okay, cool. Otherwise known as bringing civilization to this largely uninhabited continent, but we'll leave that point aside. They start talking about why Sitting Bull was so accomplished, and half the story is him learning how to steal shit from the Crow. He was very good at taking their horses and their weapons and just this guy was a group member. he was a gangster against the Crow, taking their shit, and that's how he became Sitting Bull, and in many instances was successful against the army in combat. But the documentary is looking at the U.S. Army and the Americans in the East and condemning what they're doing, even though almost all of it was not theft. They were not taking like settled Indian encampments sometimes, but we're talking about the largely uninhabited virgin land across the West. Meanwhile, Sitting Bull, the hero of this documentary, they're describing him stealing shit, growing up becoming an accomplished thief, but that is all excused because indigenous or something. Yeah, whatever. And by the way, I'm not even a hater. Like I think the history of the army versus the Indian tribes is very interesting. And I do agree that the history of Native American tribes is American history. It's part of how the West was settled, and we should learn it. I'm not even hating the tribes. I just hate that when I watch a documentary like this, the moral standards applied to the white people are completely different from the moral standards applied to the Indians. It makes no sense. I mean, it does. They, like you're saying, they hate our country and they hate white people. But from a logical consistency standpoint, it makes no sense.
Yeah. I've lived in Arizona most of my life at this point, I think. And I have known quite a few American Indian people, and some of them are pretty cool. Some of them are pretty based, and others are, big old libs, and they buy into some of this stuff. It's a mixed bag, but yeah, there is something distinctly American about it all, and our shared history and all of that.
VV, this guy does
why Westerns were the most popular genre for a really long time. It was basically quintessential Americana.
Yeah, I still love it. That's why I love all the Taylor Sheridan stuff. I love the setting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Indian characters. Some are cool, some are bad, whatever.
I didn't even manage to bring myself to hate Rust. I mean, come on.
That's right. I forgot we reviewed it. I kind of liked that movie.
Bring back.
I thought it was ironically wonderfully shot. As in the cinematography.
Bring back all the cowboys and Indian. What?
It was also amazingly shot by Alec Baldwin. Anyway.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
Jeez. I was gonna say, bring back all the cowboys and Indians toys from when I was a kid. There was some.
Yeah.
Good ones.
Hell yeah.
VV, this guy doesn't know not to pick fights with guys bigger than you. Yeah, that was bold. I don't know if you guys saw that Hawaii Democrat picking that. I mean, that's the thing is one punch KO'd, and I don't know, maybe this guy thought he fights better than he can, but the dude who punched him was significantly larger. So it wasn't just like, wow, this guy's maybe more of a trained fighter than I expected. The dude probably has 40, maybe 50 pounds on that other guy.
Yeah,
he still picked a fight with him.
I would not have been eager to swing that chair if I were him.
Yeah, good luck. Tim says, I'm not sure if you saw the Hawaiian politician knockout from me sending it. Oh, as in the Discord. I thought if I could send you the theme song of a game show we had in Australia called It's a Knockout that has the lyrics, It's a Knockout, in said theme song. Well, sorry, he went with Pixies, Where Is My Mind as the theme song to his knockout. So that was a good choice. Laughing Boy. Where is his mind? It was actually punched out of his skull like a dozen yards away. That's where his mind went.
Appropriate.
Laughing Boy. At some point in time, the good guys will have to become quote-unquote fascist, also known as uncompromising, to defeat the DSA and the Democrat crowd. It's essentially, it's okay to be the bad guy. The disciplinarian writes the ship. Well, there is a such thing as a morally square hardliner, I guess you could say. I don't agree that we have to become agents of chaos or amoral people to defeat these things. It just means that to correct the immorality, you do have to be hardline and heavy-handed. You do have to be harsh with your justice against a lot of the stuff that's going on, whether it's criminal behavior or even political behavior. I'm not saying like we need to jail all our political enemies right now or something, but any sort of appeasement of these people, they all need to be absolutely mocked. They need to be treated with scorn. They need to be embarrassed. All of those things. You can't politely negotiate your way out of people who believe that the role of the government is to point a gun at you and take your shit. And that's what they believe.
Yeah.
So ultimately, we're going to have to cross the bridge of solving that problem.
And, whether people like it or not, political turmoil is going to turn ugly. It just is. It's not going to be all puppies and rainbows forever. There's going to come a moment when things really start to amp up, and it's already kind of happening in Europe, as we've seen. It's like, all right, tell me what kind of ugly you want. Do you want the Pakistani rape gangs, or do you want ICE? You know what I'm saying?
Pakistani rape groups, please.
Yeah,
rape groups.
Grape groups.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Laughing Boy. Tim says, remember the DoorDash driver that entered or filmed in a customer's house, saw himself half naked, and claimed that he was sexually assaulted, or that he sexually assaulted her? Update. Trial has been set for October 19th. A judge will rule in September whether her case can be dismissed. I've never heard this. So DoorDash driver enters customer's house, saw him. Who's him? Is that the driver or the customer? Saw him have...
Did you not hear about this case?
No, I have no idea what this is.
Basically, this DoorDash driver shows up to a guy's house. He is in his own home, by himself, drunk, passed out, with his pants around his ankles.
Okay.
And she films him.
Why would she film him?
Because she's a psycho.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And so she's accused of sexual harassment, or he is? Sexual assault.
She accused him of sexual assault, and now she's getting charged for she's getting charged for filming him and for entering his house without permission.
So maybe she filmed because she thought it was evidence of a crime? Like she thought she was being criminally victimized?
Well, she probably didn't think she was being criminally victimized. She probably just wanted a virtue signal. But that virtue signaling got her some charges.
Well, I would say that's good.
Yes, it is.
Also, DoorDash drivers, they usually just leave it on the porch, don't they? Like, since when do they enter your home?
You have the option of, on DoorDash, you have the option of saying either leave it at my door or hand it to me.
Okay, well, that guy deserves to be prosecuted for saying hand it to me. That's psychopath.
No, he didn't. That's the thing.
He didn't?
He didn't. Okay. He had the option selected to leave it at the door, and she went in anyway.
Yeah. I don't DoorDash because, it's largely, the convenience is cool, but it's a lot of money that's not worth it. The few times we've DoorDashed, you know who shows up at my door? Shri Thanedar. Get the hell off my property. I don't want to shake your hand. I don't want you touching my food. So no, I don't want the guy
to do now that I have lost my job in Congress.
Yeah, I don't want Shri Thanedar coming to. Why am I paying for this guy to come to my house? I definitely don't want him opening my door. Anyway, thank you, Tim. Guardian Game Studio, the way to fix all the group... this is the one we read. The way to fix all the group activity is to take away the EVT cards from moms who, have all these watermelon felon children. He's onto something. Smart idea. Thank you, Spencer. Injured Guardian. Batman Alternative, Blood Eagle, all arsonists. What's Blood Eagle?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, it's a medieval torture method.
Do we really want to describe
pulling...
that one? Yeah.
Oh,
it's brutal. It basically involves pulling your organs out through the ribs of your back.
Well, you got it. Well, and the name comes from like flaying a person's back and then like spreading the skin in that shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Wait, why is this like a Norse thing? Because I'm looking at the Wikipedia.
It is, yes.
It's got like a Valnut, the Norse kind of symbol. Let me pull this up.
Yeah, it was a Norse torture method.
The old world was a brutal time.
So what I'm talking about here, this is a old depiction of it, but that triangular shape, the three triangles, is the Valnut. So yeah, like a Norse origin here. Yeah. Some real Viking torture. That's kind of cool.
Yes.
All right. Back when white people used to be tough. Those were the days.
It's hard to imagine these days, isn't it? There was a time.
Viking stuff's hard to imagine, yeah.
Actually, that's one of the crimes committed by Christopher Nolan's stupid movie is you don't get to see old world psychology, which would have been nice, but yeah, we can't have nice things.
VV, I appreciate the data center talk. I work systems development. I'd be happy to opine next Wednesday. Thank you. Lol. Not boring at all. The name is hard to read, but we appreciate the respect for the caller. VV, if you'd like to chime in, you're welcome to call in live or leave a voicemail or leave an email. Be happy to take your data center thoughts. Skulldugger, I missed the data center call. Inconceivable. I assume that's the Princess Bride reference there. That's one I do know.
Of course.
For the record, I am pro data center, but not now. First, we must invest in molten salt reactors. Then we can build data centers. I don't even know what that's about, but at least I was...
Molten salt reactor is a type of nuclear reactor. It's really cool. It can't really be used for like weapons enrichment. It's an interesting technology, very sustainable. It doesn't require the same kind of uranium rods and that sort of thing. It's based on a kind of liquid fuel, so it's really neat technology. I looked into that and thorium reactors back when I was in college, and I agree we need as many of those as we can build, but I don't think we need to wait. I disagree with Skull on that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Skulldugger. We'll get your data center take another time, in totality at least. Injured Guardian, Molotovs equal booze, gas, oil, and formerly gunpowder. Okay, so you put so there's like a fuel and maybe an explosive, or the gunpowder. I assume adds more.
Blow your hand off right there.
Adds more bang to the mix.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. I thought it was just filled with gasoline, and the fire. When you light the little cloth on fire at the top, that's what provides the spark. But I don't know.
You got to be really confident that rag, that cloth, is a sufficient wick, though, right? I mean, if there's gunpowder and gasoline and that burns too quickly, you cook your grenades in Call of Duty, you try to hold it strategically. You don't want to cook your Molotov. You don't want to hold on to it too long.
Cooking grenades in real life is a really, really dumb idea.
Yeah, I would assume. Skull also says,
throw the grenade.
If she calls him partner, it's a red flag that she doesn't respect his leadership in the relationship. If he calls her partner, it's a red flag that he is a fag.
Bingo.
That's simply put.
And I don't think that that's wrong necessarily. I would say to the emailer, don't assume her intentions. If it was me, I would assume that she's just doing the corporate speak that people are trained to do. I hope and trust she's not intentionally disrespecting you, and that's what your discussion will evaluate.
There is a certain egalitarianism to the language here, and
it's bullshit.
I wouldn't call it accidental. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is egalitarianism. The role of boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, they are equal in participatory necessity, if that makes sense, but their roles are certainly not equal. So they shouldn't have the same title. Yeah. A mother is not a father is not a mother, a husband is not a wife is not a husband. Though they are closely related, necessarily related.
Yeah, I'm telling you, people would be so much happier if they realized what a glorious thing that is.
Yes. Yeah, they love to frame it as disrespect for women. No, it is acknowledgement of the amazing, unique capability of women. Yeah. I'm not the one. We aren't the ones who want to diminish that and just wipe it away as though it's insignificant. No, it's necessary to sustain the species. It builds families. For any jokes you want to make about women playing basketball or whatever nonsense, the one joke you can't make is their ability to create life in that way. Yeah. That's awesome. And it's such a tragedy for any woman to be propagandized away from that. And that's what's going on now.
I hate the schizophrenia of it too. We used to talk about something called the feminine mystique, and that's a real thing. So they want to cling to that, but at the same time they want to erase the category of woman. So they want everything every which way.
Injured Guardian. By the way, if the actual Harry Dresden would freeze that Ring doorbell guy solid, then post guards and pay for the child's schooling. Harry Dresden, the name rings the bell, but I have to confess I don't know the specifics of who that person is.
He's the main character from a series of books. He's basically a modern day mage.
Right. Okay. So we're talking about the Millhouse doorbell guy. So if Harry Dresden would freeze the Millhouse eyebrows Batman voice guy solid, then post guards and pay for the child's schooling. Oh, that's right. The guy's name was Harry Dresden. The guy, the Millhouse guy.
Oh.
He used the nickname Harry Dresden.
Oh, I see.
Oh. So this is if the real Harry Dresden encountered the Millhouse guy Harry Dresden. Right. Okay. Sorry, it took me a second to piece it together. Injured Guardian also says, Yellowstone rant, Colby's death was a trap. Sorry, spoiler alert. But, the show's old now. So, yeah,
you spoiled it for me.
It's not a crucial point to the plot. That exact situation is why cowboys have handguns. I assume, so I'm not going to discuss the manner of his death in the interest of not spoiling. I will just say that broadly, I believe that was final season. I'm pretty sure. But given all the complexities that happened with that show, final season, there were a lot of things that I didn't love. But how many truly great shows have a final season where you're like, yes, loved it. Ending was perfect, awesome. It's very rare that that's actually achieved. And I don't think Yellowstone handled it perfectly. But given the Kevin Costner stuff, I don't know
the reasons
how they were supposed to.
I've kind of given up on television because I've seen a few shows to completion and I'm almost always disappointed.
Yeah, that's the thing about making something great. To sustain it on a high level and have it be forever great is almost impossible. Not just in TV, in any context. How many pro athletes go out on top at their height? It's very rare. Sometimes people win the Super Bowl and retire, but mostly, even the best guys, they play a year or two too long. You're like, God, this sucks.
Yeah, and
he should have retired years ago. That's how TV goes too.
Yeah. So whether it's television or movies or books, the best way to do it is to have some kind of a plan, and this was the case with, I think, Breaking Bad. It's like they knew what the story was going to be, and they basically just had to follow the timeline, right? And so Peter Jackson is another great example of this. It's just have a plan, follow the plan, execute.
But then the people who buy the intellectual property, they're like, fuck that. We're going to milk this cow to infinity and beyond. And
all the way to rings of power.
Suffering from success.
Yeah. Tim says the term partner is so bloody cringy. Are you in a law firm? Yeah, exactly. Are you a pair of cops? Or a cowgirl? To the emailer, emphasize you assume no ill intent, but maybe discuss what each of you view as the terms of affection so you can get on the same page. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I would explain why the terms husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend are important, why the distinction is important, why the role is important, and what it is that you're building. And if she doesn't agree to that, then I got news for you. You're not building the right thing with her, which I've been in that spot. I don't know what the situation is. I hope the best for you. And I don't want a relationship to fall apart, but I've been, and this is several steps ahead of maybe where you are. But I've been in that situation where you got into a relationship for the wrong reasons or for unclear reasons. And then down the line, you realize like, oh, your intent was not this. Okay. Well, what the hell are we doing? If you don't have the discussions early on about intent, about direction, you're going to realize a long time later that you're just wasting your time. And that's really unfortunate. You don't want to get to that spot. So
here's a hot take. Past a certain age, I wouldn't even use the terms boyfriend and girlfriend. It's
what would you use? I mean, what do you say?
That's a good question. I mean,
we don't really have a term.
Yeah, we used to, right? They would say, my beloved, my betrothed, something like that.
We used to be way more classy.
Yeah.
We used to be sophisticated, and now we're
proper society.
Boyfriends and girlfriends.
Well, boyfriend and girlfriend it necessarily implies youth, and if you're older, it doesn't. It is weird when somebody who is in their elder years, somebody who's of retirement age, for example, regardless of circumstance, maybe they've had a spouse die. I'm not even saying it's their fault. But the term boyfriend and girlfriend used in that context is odd because of the age discrepancy. So we do need a new term.
Yep.
But I don't know what that is.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah. Zeldgear, I just got here and I'll have to watch the show later, but I wanted to drop this off. Well, thank you much.
I am not going to be niggardly. We love you. You're very special.
Very kind of you to keep the duct tape operation rolling. Very much appreciated, Zeldgear. Thank you for that. I'm humbled, and we'll keep the operation running thanks to you. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Taker 610. Ray Pitler arose from the Supergirl movie villain. Okay.
Yeah, I did realize that.
I still don't get the Ray Pitler.
How
bit.
could we know that when nobody watched that movie? It's already ended its theatrical run. It did so terribly.
Well, I saw the Mahler video on it, and that's where it came from. So basically, the villain of the Supergirl movie. I'm assuming that I can spoil this because nobody's going to give a shit.
I've never heard of this. Yeah, I have no idea what this is.
Anyway, the villain of the Supergirl movie is basically so catastrophically immoral that Mahler basically just said, I'm not using this guy's name. I'm just going to call him Rape Hitler.
Okay. Still not sure I get it, but fair enough.
Well, that was the reference. That's all.
It probably makes sense if we see the explanation.
Lastly, Tim says regarding the DoorDash case, police said there's no evidence she was invited to enter the house. Okay. Presumably, he checked the leave at my door option like a sensible person. I believe she filmed to prove the so-called sexual assault, of him being naked in his house. So yeah, she thought she would have a case against him, and that's why she documented it. But or it was
no matter the Insta,
regardless of context, if you're taking nude pictures of someone else in their home without their consent, you are not the good guy legally or morally. You're going to be in trouble. You got some questions to answer if you're doing that. So, all right. Appreciate everybody's super chats tonight. Thank you for that. You guys have anything else to say before we are out of here?
Kind of. Just one thing about the data centers. There is, because I was sort of positive about them earlier. There is something that really bothers me right now, and that is because I'm the book guy, remember. There is a book apocalypse happening right now. Anthropic is deleting millions of books off the face of the earth, actual physical rare copies, to feed the data center machine, which I I don't know. Maybe I should make my own video about that or something, because it's really disheartening.
All right. Is there a Turless YouTube channel coming? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, man, you know, I'm thinking about it. I should probably get, because
right.
you know, who else is going to talk about that?
So you can talk hours and hours of data centers. You know, it's a niche emerging market on YouTube. Maybe you could capture it. A lot of people are very interested.
This thing anyway, because like I say, they're using this process where, you know, you take the book and you chop the spine off, scan all the pages with OCR, then destroy the book. So if it's a rare copy, it's gone forever.
So it's destruction in the name of preservation.
And it's not even like preserved in a way that you can access, right? Like through Internet Archive or something. It's just like buried in the data somewhere. And you don't have the original anymore. So if the scan made any mistakes, you can't correct them. And anyway, that's kind of a terrible thing that's happening.
All right.
Sorry,
well, thank you for that.
Just before you finish up, did you get the chat from, let me bring it up again, from Taker 610, starting with your feet in the air, so on and so forth? I don't know if you got that one.
Oh, you know what? I actually maybe missed a couple, because it looks like there were a couple from Taker and you in sequence that maybe I got confused on.
Yeah, I sent one as well.
Tim says, not surprising there are people who want to punish jailer parents for behavior of kids. People push that individuals who were never slaves receive reparations from individuals who never owned slaves, punishing people for something someone else did. Well, to the extent it's you make the law a weapon, which is what I believe this stuff is. And Taker says, a good soundbite for the show would be Kim Jong-il from Team America World Police. Why is everybody so fucking stupid? I remember that one. But you say he has another one in here, right? I missed another Taker one.
Yeah, there's one that starts with your feet in the air and your head on the ground and so on and so forth.
I don't have that
reference to. I can just
where
read it
where did that come in?
That looks like it came, I don't know about with the others, but it came after the VV one about I appreciate the data center talk.
Yeah, it got lost somewhere. So I'll have to see what happened there, because that did not feed into my system. But if you have it handy, go ahead.
I'm looking at it right now. I don't understand this reference. I think it's a reference to something. With your feet in the air and your head on the ground, try this trick and spin it. Yeah. Your head will collapse because there's nothing in it. You'll ask yourself, Kirill, where was my mind?
It's Where Is My Mind by Pixies. Yeah, it's the lyrics to the song that was playing when he got knocked out.
I just realized that when he said Kirill, I'm like, oh, that's the Hawaiian guy.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Right.
And I'll have to, would that come in on YouTube? I'll have to investigate why that didn't feed.
It did, yeah.
Okay, so it must be a glitch in the system. We'll see if we can get that fixed, and sorry to take her about that. But all right, we will call it there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Thanks to our live chatters and super chatters for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Thanks to our callers. Thanks to our emailers. Thanks to Frank for joining, quitefrankly.tv for all things Quite Frankly. Thanks to Turless and Batman for being here. Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance. MattChristiansenMedia.com for all things show related, or mattis.gay. I'll be back on Sunday night. See you then. Have a great night and a great week.
Once